Hello, testing. Is this thing on? Yo, welcome to the Shady Monkey Show. Big thanks to our sponsor, Oriental Distilling Company, making the best gin in China out of Zhuhai. Go check them out if you're a gin lover. Got a very special guest today, Daniel Camilo. I think I said that name right.
Yeah, that's my name.
You're from Portugal.
Yes.
Born in Switzerland.
Yes.
Now living in
Shenzhen.
Shenzhen, like the rest of us.
Yeah, like many of us. Yeah.
And you've been here. We were just talking before the podcast. Sorry, I might have poured in this heavy.
No, it's okay.
You've been here a long time, 12 years.
Yeah, since 2012, late 2012. So I think that adds up to 12 or 13 years.
Yeah, it's like the same amount of time that.
Thank you.
That I've been here as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome, man. Appreciate.
Cheers.
Appreciate you coming out here.
No, thank you for having me.
You need more tonic?
No, it's okay. I was wondering, does the sound like the bubbling? You know, if it doesn't do like the ASMR thing. Like, you don't watch those things?
What's that?
It's a thing. Like if you go on YouTube and you just search for ASMR, there's like millions of videos with millions of views of people. Like it's like binaural sound thing that people record. So it simulates like 3D sound. So if you hear with headphones, you can hear like people massaging your hair or giving you haircuts and stuff, basically to put you to sleep.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
you'd lay in bed and wear headphones?
In bed I do it that, I shouldn't say, but I do that at work all the time. I'm always listening to stuff like that because it's just, it keeps me sleepy, but at the same time, it keeps me comfortable. So
and it's just like sound effects, like snip, like the barbershop, people walking by. People
do whole videos, whole productions, but the point is always the sounds. It's like, it's very realistic. If you just search one day, like 3D barbershop or whatever on YouTube, and you just try it, it's kind of amazing. And yeah, so one of the effects sometimes people use there is like these like bubbly sounds.
Right.
They'll do like this, in the mics, and then you kind of hear those like.
And you need to wear like the 3D, I guess.
No, just
headphones?
any kind of earphones, or headphones.
That's stereo, I guess.
Yeah, stereo, but because they have special mics to do that 3D sounds. The people record that. They actually have them like shaped like ears and stuff like that.
So what is a 3D sound? I mean, like, technically, if I just wear like AirPods or whatever, right, and put them on my ear, like I know that there's stereo left and right, you know, but like as far as like 3D sound.
Well, in that case, I'm not an expert, but on that case, it's called binaural 3D sound, and I think that the receptors are still like just two ends that capture the sound, but then it simulates like the space around. I don't know, like just the volume, but it's really very immersive. When you listen to it, you can literally, like if you close your eyes, you can tell if the person is tapping you on the, like right here on the side of your head, or like just 2 or 3 centimeters to the left. It's very, very realistic. So yeah. And
it's different from surround sound.
Yeah, it's different because that doesn't work with the speakers, with sound speakers. The ASMR stuff, it doesn't work. It needs to be with headphones. Because the basis is, it's like it's simulating your head, basically. So it's all from the perspective of a human head.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, just try it.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out, dude.
Yeah,
I've never heard of it.
There's also a very creepy side to it because there's a lot of like sexual stuff, like not explicit, but there's a lot of like videos where if you search the first results you'll get is like girls dressed in a very like very sexy way, where making mouth sounds and stuff like that.
Right.
But if you go beyond
is that what you listen to work?
No, that's really not. I listen to like head massage and I like that. Yeah, it's really good.
And it's without music, right?
No music. Yeah, it's just well, it depends. The creators, they can do anything, but the point is like the more specific sounds. Yeah, so no music. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. No, I've never heard of that.
Well,
I deal with like, I do like some video editing and I deal with stereo sound, but like it's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
So like the about you is I've actually known you, not really known you, but I've seen you around for like a long time.
Yeah,
and the first place that you popped up, and I used to think that you were like the biggest dick, you know, because like you do like a lot of like, and especially like, do you remember like the Shenzhen party days?
I remember my Shenzhen party days.
No, not parties, but like the webpage.
And
then
right,
then Shenzhen Party,
okay.
they made like these like the Lohu Party group, different like
and
food
before it
team.
was like Shenzhen stuff or whatever.
So Shenzhen stuff was the competition. So there were like kind of like two web pages, and this was like before like WeChat was like becoming popular.
Yeah, I remember.
So like all the foreigners would go there, and like
Exactly.
Shenzhen Party had the chat group.
Yeah.
You know, where people would chat and shit that.
Yeah, I met some people.
You know, I met my wife on there.
Yeah, I think everybody met their wife.
Yeah,
I'm not married, but I'm just saying many people did.
met their significant others from. I mean, at the time, like that was kind of like the go-to place for meeting people, and also like finding out about events and the stuff that was happening in the city.
Yeah.
But I just remember like you saw like people would post messages and say something, and then you would just like fucking troll them so hard, dude. I was just like say this like the most crazy shit, and I just think, God, who the fuck is this guy? Like he's such a jerk, you know?
Yeah.
But then just kind of like through the years of like, especially like in the comic book group.
Oh, no,
that Dave, I think Dave. Jeff's
group,
Jeff's group,
Yeah.
And then I started like, seeing like your personality and the shit that you're doing, like you're actually like, I was like, fuck, you're actually like a very smart and like intelligent dude.
Oh,
but in the beginning, I've always wanted to tell you that, but
I spent a lot of time online. Always did since I was like since middle school, since I got internet at my home, which was, I'm not sure if it was middle school or high school, but then I was on forums online and threads and using how do you call it, Merc? How do you say in English? IRC.
IRC.
Yeah,
okay.
that kind of stuff. So, I like arguing online, not so much because I care, but just because of the like kind of the intellectual exercise. It's just kind of fun. It's like kind of like role playing or whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, and sometimes but even when I am a dick, as you say, I try not to be too rude. I guess I try not to. I don't know. I don't have like a guidebook for myself, but I'm not the kind of person. I'm not gonna be like openly like racist or anything like that.
I never thought like you were rude, but it was just like I just you like to push people's buttons.
Oh yeah. Because I like to check. Because I like to check if people, to recognize someone who's evil or bad, I guess. The best way is to pretend that you're evil or bad. That's how a CIA agent infiltrates the KKK or wherever, right? So that's kind of, I think that's super fun. And so that's kind of what I try to do. Like if you push people and see how they react to things, and like if I want to, I don't know, I shouldn't make fun of this, but if I want to check if someone is like a homophobe or whatever, the best way is to pretend I'm gay, which might be kind of disrespectful to actual gay people, but still, especially when I was a kid, not a kid, but when I was younger, I would kind of do those exercises just to check, and then people reveal themselves, and that's when it gets fun, I guess, in a very silly, shallow,
Actually, I did think for a while, I thought you were gay.
Oh, well, many people do.
Because I was at this, because honestly, like I think we've seen each other a few times. We've never really actually
not many times, maybe 2 or 3
and we never
times.
talked. Like, I don't think we've ever like sat down and had a small conversation. It was kind of like, hey, hi,
just hello. Yeah.
And but like one of the first times I met you is when it was saw you was the Saturdays. It was they used to do these parties, and maybe it's not you. They did it in this was like pre-COVID, like 5-6 years ago.
Right.
They think where I saw you was they did it in the Sheko Magma.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, that was very cool. Yeah,
that was a fun party.
That place was very cool, and I knew. I mean, not super intimate or whatever, but I knew the owners and stuff, and
Edo and
and the what's his name?
The other Italian guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, but that's something like that, and and Edo's wife and all that.
Yeah, those guys are good people.
But sorry, but I interrupted you.
No, that's it. I was just like, so when I saw you there, I was like, okay,
Well, yeah, I do. I mean, I don't want to make this whole thing about talking about gay things, but I do. I mean, before I came to Shenzhen, I was living in Lisbon in Portugal, and Lisbon has an amazing nightlife. Like really, I'm not saying just because I'm Portuguese, but it's true. I think anyone who visits.
I think the Europeans know how to party good, party hard.
Yeah, but Portugal in particular, it's really it's up there. Like I mean, Spain as well, and Italy and whatever. But yeah, but when I was in Lisbon, I would end up many times, not many times, but enough times in gay bars and stuff like that. Because there's like these districts, these streets filled with bars. And, I would end up there, not because I was gay or anything like that, but simply because it honestly, to me, it felt like the places with the best vibes, like with the best music. And just to party and stuff, party as in dancing.
Right.
I really enjoy that. And always cool people, there's never like a very toxic environment, I guess, in those places.
Yeah, like I know what you're talking about. Like I went to a few gay bars and clubs when I was living in Seattle and San Francisco, and those places. There's always like it felt happy,
Yeah.
Joyous. People having a fun. There was no like machoism.
Exactly.
Like
exactly. Yeah. There's no, because when you go to any other clubs or parties, there's literally people are there just to find someone to have sex with, like like literally, and obviously that happens a lot in gay clubs as well.
No, are you sure?
But I don't know. Maybe I'm betraying the intent of those establishments. But for me, going to a place like that, I didn't feel that.
Right.
Like being a straight guy, I suppose, and not like I would go alone. I would go with friends as well. So the vibes always felt good, and here in Shenzhen as well. Fortunately, there's kind of a scene. There was the Magma before they had those nights, and still now there's like a club Oil that you probably know, and they have like these queer themed parties like once every month or something like that, and they're really really cool. I've been to some. They really go hard. I mean, they have all the BDSM decor and stuff like that, but again, it's the most joyful, I think, the most joyful parties to go to, because if you go to some other clubs especially where there's a lot of foreigners and the music is going to be like Latin night or something like that, I mean, of course it's cool, it's whatever, people are having fun, but there's always like this layer of creepiness that I don't feel exists so much in these kind of like queer nights or whatever. Right. So that's why I like that, because it's more genuine, I think, in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Like, when I was younger, going back to Seattle, like, I've never been to, like, growing up, I never had gay friends, never been to a gay club. But then I started dating this girl who was like a bartender at the gay club. And so I'd go and see her, and then me and my friends would go. And I had a great time, man. It was good stuff. And then, like, also, like, through, like, watching you online, because I'm, like, I don't really chat. I don't like to chat in groups and share shit, So it's just, like, when I'm taking a shit, I just, like, scroll through and see what's happening. Mostly just, like, check out, like, the pictures and what people post. And then I saw that you had posts, or somebody posted, like, pictures from, like, your Twitter account, and, like, talking about, like, gaming. And I was like, fuck, like, I think you even, like, maybe write articles sometimes about gaming and stuff like that. And
I do that.
I had no idea. I mean, now I know, but, like, that was, like, the evolution of you from, like, my perspective was, like, the fucking troll online, possibly gay. And then, he's actually a cool, really intelligent guy and super into gaming.
Yeah. No, gaming is my thing. It's my life, is my passion. I don't know. Do you want to?
No.
Oh, it's okay. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, gaming is really my passion since I was a kid. I started playing video games when I was 2 years old. My parents, which I love, and I never say that out loud, and they won't hear it because they don't understand English. But anyway,
they're definitely probably not going to listen to this podcast.
But they bought NES, a Nintendo NES, when I was 2 years old. My sister was 5 years older than me, so that was my first contact with video games, and I've always played since then. And it's something I just love, and I write a lot about it. I spend more time reading and just talking about games than actually playing games. I suppose nowadays, but yeah, it's definitely the thing that if I had to choose one thing that most characterizes me and I feel more passionate about, is probably the gaming industry. Yeah, for sure.
Now, are you like purely like a a console gamer, or do you also like go into like PC gaming?
No, I started with consoles when I was a little kid. Then my parents, in neighbors and whatever, I played on PCs like Amigas and some other computers at the time.
You have a Commodore 64?
I'm not sure if I ever played in one, but I'm aware of them. But I'm not sure. I never had one, but I'm not. I played in many different ones in neighbors and cousins' houses.
Right.
And then I had my first PC at home. My parents bought in '98 when I was like 10 or 12 or whatever.
Sure.
So then I had the period where I played on the computer for a long time, and I didn't really play on consoles. And then around 2000, 2000, I got back more to consoles. And nowadays I don't play on PC at all. I just, I don't know. I already spend so much time at work in front of a computer. The last thing I want to do when I get home is to sit on a desk and in front. I know you can connect to like your TV if you want to. But to me, just feels that's another layer of work. I don't want to bother with that. So I just prefer the consoles. Yeah.
Also, for me, like the consoles are, because I have a similar history with you. Like I started with the Nintendo NES. That was like started with the Commodore 6. My dad had a Commodore 64, and we had like Pac-Man and Montezuma's Revenge and some other fucking games. And so but you got to like type in the fucking like command prompts to get the game to launch. Anyways, so then Nintendo came out, and that was like a big revolution. And then that was my last console for a while, because got into PC. My dad got a PC, and we got into PC gaming. And it wasn't until like maybe 2000 when the PlayStation 2 came out.
2001, the PlayStation 2. Yeah.
So that's when I bought the PlayStation 2. I remember like I sent my mom. My mom lived in like a small town, and like everywhere in like Seattle was like sold out. And all the big cities was like couldn't get it, but she was able to like wait in line and pick one up from her local retail shop.
Amazing.
And she flew it up to me because she was visiting me for the weekend. And then I played the PlayStation 2 for a while. Still had a PC. I used to play a lot of like my big games were like Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, yeah. And Diablo 1, Diablo 2.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, I kind of like with my work and career, I switched to Macs, right? And stopped buying PCs.
Mac, okay.
Right, Mac, yeah. And there's like no good games for the Mac.
Yeah, almost nothing. Yeah.
Except for the Blizzard always would release games on the same time as on Mac and PC.
Yeah.
Until Overwatch came out, that was like their tradition.
Oh, right.
So like I was just playing all those games on my Macs, and then it wasn't until like my kid was, I don't know, about 7 maybe, I decided to get the PS4.
Oh, okay.
So now we're just like now we're on the PS5, but like I said I bought it for him, but really I bought it for me.
Yeah, I think I'm sorry. Yeah, that's funny, because I was just tweeting the other day about that, like how kids, and I mean like small kids, like whatever is the generation, even like more recent than Gen Z, like I think they're called alphas or whatever. I don't know. I think kids nowadays, they don't really care about consoles. They don't want consoles. They don't ask for consoles to their parents. So especially like when you see the market for the PS5 or whatever, it's really predominantly like adults. I mean, adults always have played video games, but especially now, like when I was a kid and even till my teenage years, all the kids my age, they would always ask for their parents for consoles or whatever. Nowadays, I'm generalizing, but I don't think that happens with kids like under 12 or whatever. I don't know. I might be wrong, but just it's my perception. So I don't know. You have kids, maybe you know better. But
well, I think I mean in China, I think it's a little bit.
Well,
you can't because like I'm raising like kids here, but like
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think I think that's probably partly true, but I still think that there's like a demand, you know, for Xbox and PlayStation.
But
also they grew up, the new generation, they grew up with their phones.
Right.
And they have all the games on their phones. They even have like Call of Duty now on your phone, Diablo on your phone.
Yeah, and they want digital content. They want money so they can purchase things in those games and whatever. So, yeah.
But Like I know, like in this neighborhood, like we're probably the only family that has a console.
Oh,
Like I don't think like it's very popular, for families to buy consoles in China.
It's
Maybe for like young 20s, kind of.
It's a growing market, and feel free to change the topic if it becomes boring, because I can go deep on this and talk about this for many hours. But there's definitely a growing market for consoles in China. It's growing a lot actually, especially since the Switch came out. The PS4 was considerably successful here in China. In the import market, because officially the official model. I mean, it's a big topic. I don't know why I'm mentioning that, but anyway, but there's more and more consoles, and even PS5 now in China as well. There's not as much as it should be. I mean, considering the population and all that, like market penetration is extremely low.
Right.
But there's still a few millions throughout the country.
Sure.
So and it's growing more and more, and yeah, especially with younger adults now that they're more aware of that, and it's kind of like a more chic thing, I guess, like to play games on consoles. And it's growing. I noticed that. I see that on people I know, on my WeChat moments and whatever, just people I would never guess they would play video games, let alone console games, and suddenly they're posting some picture like of their house, and I because I noticed, I start looking in the background.
In the pictures.
Yeah, and there's a PS5. That's weird. This person has a PS5. Okay. So that's been happening a lot, and the Switch is very popular in China in particular. Right. Yeah, so
because I mean you can take it on the metro while you're going to work.
Yeah, and it's for the whole family and stuff.
Yeah, plug it to the. I've never tried the Switch. I've seen it, of course.
Oh, it's cool.
But it looks really. I mean, it looks very smart. Like Nintendo designed a very smart product.
Yeah.
With the Switch.
Yeah. Nintendo they know what they're doing. Yeah.
And that's pretty much their only console at the moment, right?
At the moment, yes. The second one will come out next year, supposedly.
But another Switch 2, right?
Yeah. We still don't know the final name, but the next console will very, very likely, like 90% certainty, come out next year.
But the Switch, or like
we still don't know for sure
what it is
officially. Likely, but there's still no official nothing. Like we know the specs kind of officially, like the specs inside of the console, how powerful it will be. We more or less know that, but the design wise, form factor, we know nothing.
So you don't know if it's like same like mobile plus.
No, we don't know.
TV?
We don't know. I mean, if you ask anyone, including me, I would say almost for sure yes, it will keep the same form factor. Yeah. But they still didn't show anything, so we cannot be sure.
It has to be. I don't see Nintendo ever going back to.
Yeah, I
making
agree.
just boxes. I
agree. Yeah, no, they
they hit this the sweet spot, with their product.
Yeah, exactly, and it's still selling a lot. So it's crazy.
It looks cool, and then I mean, like I said, it's the perfect it's the next step up from mobile gaming. It's more powerful as far as graphic goes, I guess.
Well, actually, the Switch is pretty old now. Switch is from 2017, so probably your phone is more powerful than a Switch. If you bought your phone in the last 3-4 years, it's probably more powerful, considerably more powerful even. Because just to give you an example, the Switch has, I hope I don't get this wrong. I think it has 4 gigs of RAM. So nowadays you can easily buy a phone that has 8, 12, 16. There's even some extreme models that have 24, I think, some gaming smartphones. So, and the RAM is not everything, of course. I'm just using that as an example. But the CPU for the Switch is an old, from NVIDIA from 2016 and stuff. So it's,
Now, do you have all the consoles? Are you an Xbox, Switch,
guy?
PlayStation guy?
Yeah, I do because I feel like if I want to play a game, I want to be able, to play it. Except if it's an exclusive for PC, then I won't, because I don't have a gaming PC. I have 2 laptops, but none of them can run anything.
Sure.
But consoles, I do. Yeah, that's.
Do you have a favorite console? If you had to pick, the house is burning down, and you only get to grab one.
I would grab an old one.
Really?
Yeah, because I have. Oh, sorry, I just shouted. I have a lot of I'm a collector, so I have a lot of retro games and whatever, and consoles at home. So I would probably take with me, if there was a fire, I'd take a Dreamcast, a Sega Dreamcast, and one Dreamcast in one hand and a Sega Saturn in the other.
Seriously?
Seriously. Yeah. Those. I mean, my favorite console ever is definitely the Dreamcast, which was Sega's last console before they stopped doing business in consoles.
Switch to games.
Yeah, they had to.
Purely games.
They were forced out of the hardware market because, well, it's a long story, but they weren't making enough money to continue to compete. So yeah, the Dreamcast was their last console, and it's my favorites, and it has some of my favorite games ever. And
you still play it?
I have 2 at home right now. One is connected. I honestly I don't play it. I don't really play old games because games unlike music and cinema and whatever. I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but I think games are still kind of a product of their time just because of the limitations in technology. Of course, you can still enjoy a game from the 80s or from the 90s or whatever. They're fun, but they are the way they are because of the technology that existed at the time, not because the people who made them wanted to do exactly that. Not because that was their vision, right? So, no, I think there's so many good games coming out all the time now that there's just no time for me to, quote-unquote, waste playing older games. Like, I already played the old games I wanted when I was younger, and now I'm playing these games now, which one day will become old, so I'm enjoying them now, so that in the future I can enjoy whatever it's coming out in the future. So
what's your favorite game that was released this year?
This year? Oh, that's a big question. Probably I'm probably forgetting something, but probably Indica. Yeah, there's a game called Indica. It's like an indie game from made by Russian developers, but they're kind of anti-establishment. It's a game where you control a nun, and she speaks to the devil. And
wait, I think I just saw.
It's very cool. It's
like
a movie.
It has like different kind of formats, like almost like a pixel mini games and stuff like that.
Exactly that. Yeah.
I saw this trailer for on the PlayStation. I was like, what the fuck is?
It's very strange. This? It's very peculiar. Yeah, it's like an art movie. It's a very short game. You can finish it in one sitting in 4 or 5 hours. And it's super cool. It looks stunning, just technically speaking. And the story, it's about this nun. She has this voice of the devil in her head, and she's struggling against whatever her faith and everything that's happening. And it's set kind of in the retro-futuristic, steampunk world. So you have like scooters that work with steam engines and stuff like that. Right. So but it's super, super cool. So yeah, I played that and I finished it very quickly, and I loved it. And if you ask me my favorite game this year, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. It looked really cool.
It is. Yeah.
I just, I think my favorite game this year is probably like Helldivers 2.
Oh, okay.
Have you put time in it?
No, because I don't play online games.
Oh, really?
I burned out from online games around the time of like Halo 3 and stuff like that. And I don't know why. I never feel the motivation. But I know Helldivers 2. I know it's cool. I know it's successful. Yeah.
Yeah. At first, because me and my kid, we still play well, not so much since Helldivers 2 came out, but like before, we were playing Helldivers 1.
Oh, okay.
And most of the games I try to buy are couch co-op games, right? Because every weekend, Saturday to Sunday, there's 4 or 5 kids at my house playing on the PlayStation because nobody else has one in the neighborhood.
Oh, you mean the neighbors? I was gonna ask if you have 5 or 4, if you have 5 kids. Okay.
No. So all my kids' friends come over and they just game all day,
Yeah.
So but the Helldivers 1 was you could have 4 friends play at the same time, and it was top view. It wasn't this 3D like the new version.
Yeah, I tried Helldivers 1 for the PS Vita because I have it for the Vita for the handheld console from Sony. I tried it very literally probably 5 minutes, but I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun. I mean, it's if you're with some friends and you just want to go and kill some bugs or something, it's a great game, especially that the couch co-op version.
I didn't even know they had co-op. I thought it was all just online.
So the first Helldivers 1, you could have 4 people play at the same time on the same screen, and it was top view. So so it was just if your guy's trying to move off the screen, it's not going to let you. Oh, so it's you guys would have to move together. It's friendly fire is always on, so you can kill or off. I'm not sure. So you can kill each other.
Right, that's always fun.
So but the new one, I was when I first saw the preview for it, it was 3D version, and I was okay, is there split screen? Is there quadruple screen? Because I wanted to play
But does it have?
No.
Oh, so it's
So
just
it's
online.
just
right?
online.
Right.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
can't play it if you're not online.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a great game. It's like the perfect game for me to like. I finished work, kids are in bed. I got 30 minutes to just space out on the game.
Relax,
Just go kill some
brain.
shit. Yeah,
it's like Jesus. What's the name of the movie? It's inspired by that movie from '97.
Stormtroopers,
Star Troopers,
or something like that.
Yeah. So it's kind of inspired by that. I mean,
and there was a game before Starship. Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers. Yes, that's it. That's. There were games, and there's one
coming in development,
up.
Right?
There's one in development. I believe so. Yeah, I think so.
It's probably gonna flop compared to.
Well, yeah, Helldivers was. I mean, Helldivers 2 is a huge hit. It's one of. I want to say
it seemed like nobody expected it.
Yeah, exactly. Not even the people who made it.
Yeah.
Like literally, they had problems like keeping up with the maintenance servers and whatever. And it's the best-selling game of the year, if I'm not mistaken, so far. So it's really
still selling.
Yeah, exactly. And it's huge and it's exclusive for the PS2 and PC. So it's like this unexpected hit for Sony and everything. And it's kind of like like the executives and whatever that they've been. Everybody guesses they're like trying to make decisions based on that. Now they probably you're gonna see more games like Helldivers in the near future because once something works, they just all start to do the same, and then they realize they cannot reproduce the same. The lightning in the bottle twice.
Yeah, it was like the perfect. I don't know. They just hit the right, released it at the right time and the right conditions, and people were hungry for this style of game.
Yeah,
because I mean, there's Call of Duty, there's Fortnite. There's PUBG. I mean, there's 1,000 shooter games. But this one was just like they hit like they said, lightning in the bottle. Yeah, it was like the perfect boom.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's just shooting. I mean, again, I'm talking as if I played, which I don't. but again, like I was telling you, I read more about games than I actually play. So I'm constantly listening to podcasts and stuff, and like just people just like you and me, just talking about their experiences with Helldivers. So it's almost as if I know what's happening. But it's great. Yeah.
But one of my favorite games that was released in the past few years, probably I think in my opinion was one of the best games ever made was like Red Dead Redemption.
Oh yeah.
2.
Yeah.
2, right?
Yeah. Well, the latest.
The latest one.
Oh, I love that game. It's
I've been and they just released it free on the PlayStation Network.
Oh, maybe if you have the subscription service.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe.
I have the service.
Okay,
so but I've been waiting for this game because I played it on the PS4 and I thought okay for sure
the first one.
Yeah,
the second one was on PS4. Yeah.
And it looked great. It ran great. Yeah. But I thought okay, so now the PlayStation 5 is out. For sure they're gonna up-res it and make a PS5 version and sell it. So I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Because I want to play it again.
Yeah.
Because when I played it was I just kind of ran through the story, and I just want to just take my time,
just chill,
go look over here, go look over there. Freddy, right? The architect.
You mean in the game?
No, the Shenzhen.
No, I don't.
He has the mustache.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm sure you've seen him around.
Okay. No, I've seen pictures.
So he I think he did that. He took his time. Mm-hmm. He did every single achievement in the game except for one that had a bug that was impossible to finish. All the fishing challenges, all the hidden locations, 100%, 99% completion.
Yeah. No, I mean I love Red Dead Redemption 2. It's one of my favorite games ever. It's kind of amazing. The more you play, the more details you see, and it's just there's so much. Even just yesterday, I was checking some videos about exactly that, like hidden details in the game that you wouldn't know unless you try some really random crazy stuff. Like for example, this is kind of morbid, but in that video there was an example if you tie someone in a rope and you drop them near in the bank of a river, where their water is not deep enough, they will still struggle to put their head up so they can breathe. And then if the water is slightly more deep, then they just won't. They will just give up and just drown. So there's like all these kind of like very tiny things that you know, like it's crazy. Yeah, but I love that game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing like how much. I mean, they could have like skipped all of that detail and just did the story and had a great game, but they like for me like there's not many companies that will spend that time, you know, to develop something that's, you know, things that are so unnecessary, you know.
Yeah, but that's what adds to it. That's what makes it so good. Yeah, it's the attention to detail, exactly. Yeah, and they're the same people who make GTA and stuff, so that's, you know, they go all in. I mean, they have that reputation, like Rockstar, the company. They have that reputation. They take these
10 years to make a game.
Yeah, Red Dead 2, I think it took like 7 or 8 years to develop or something like that. And there was even a lot of controversies because of crunch at work. Like there was some articles, from reporting about that.
Working overtime.
Yeah, but like a lot. But you know, that's like
all these game companies are getting soft. You know, back in the heyday, like my dad used to work in the video game industry.
Oh, cool.
They would fucking work from morning to night. You know, trying to fucking, you know, reach that deadline. Nobody complained. Nobody cried.
Yeah, I mean that's nowadays, especially on gaming media. Again, this is something else I'm very interested in. But yeah, on gaming media, there's a lot of like this. God, people will hate me for saying this, but there's a lot of this like virtue signaling and whatever, especially from people who never worked in like big companies. So they're always like their jobs have been like reporters or working for gaming websites or whatever. So they don't really understand how things work inside the company.
Right.
So there's all these stories constantly about companies crunching and poor work conditions and whatever. And that's true. I mean, of course it happens. I had my share deal of that as well, and I don't like it. Nobody likes that. But you know, like pretend like that's something that is not gonna happen, or that even that it's not necessary. Sometimes it's just kind of too naive to even care. I mean, obviously we need to make sure that people have, you know, life-work balance and whatever. But like if you're making like, for example, a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, and if the workers are working overtime for like, say, the last 2 or 3 months before shipping the game, like that's not, you know, that's not crime against humanity. You know, that I'm sure most of those people working in that game during that time, they're probably proud of the work they're doing.
Right, excited about it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
and assuming, of course, they're getting paid for the extra time. I mean, if they're not, that's a different problem. But most of the times, in these kind of big companies, people are paid for their time and whatever.
Or at least to get like, but if the game's successful, everybody gets like a nice fatty
bonus or whatever.
You know?
Exactly. So like, I mean, when I see people crying over that, I'm like, you know, like, yeah, it's like you're saying, like, but you know, it's not politically correct to say these things. People will say you're this and that, and soon they will call you a Nazi. I mean, that's what happens, right? If you say anything like that, like. But yeah, sorry, I don't know why I was saying this, just because you mentioned that.
But I mean, what I really think is that I think that the nature of the industry, and the same with like filming movies or anything, is just like when you're in the grind, you know, you can expect that there's gonna be long hours.
Yeah.
When you have to hit that deadline, you know. You gotta get it done.
Yeah, and especially in creative works and art, which is what gaming is, and movies and music, like you're saying, like. When people are doing that thing, like you're just doing it. Again, of course, there's staff, depending on the positions you are. There's people who are there not for that. They're just to do some kind of specific function. And obviously, we should never exploit anyone, needless to say.
Right.
But it's kind of like if you're gonna work for Steven Spielberg making his next movie, and you have to work 2 extra hours. Let's say even if it's non-paid, once in a while. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, you know, is that are you in pain? Like, what do you want? Like, are you suffering? Are you getting bombs dropped on you? Like, if you're in Palestine or something? Like, you know, it's a great thing. You're working on something that's like, you know. So you should be. I don't know. It's hard to talk about these things. Yeah.
I think
because people will always. I'm sorry. People will always extrapolate and misinterpret what you're saying when people talk about these kind of things.
Especially online. Online is like
online specifically.
You know, like anywhere where there's like people can comment and give their opinions is gonna be that has the potential to be like a toxic environment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And people always want to like put their dick out and be like, my opinion is like the fucking most important and biggest.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just. It's just. Yeah.
And also, I think that like, I mean, I think I'm a little older than you, but like these new generation of kids that are becoming adults, they're all way too soft.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I'm 37, by the way.
44.
Oh, okay. So, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know about the very very young ones, but I think a lot of these like kind of soft is more in the early to mid 20s generation now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like who just
started
recently entered into adult life.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think it's that, but I think people very quickly grow out of it. And I even noticed that online. I mean, just anecdotally, I noticed like just people, because I use Twitter a lot and other communities online, and I literally see in real time like people that I see posting now that I was already seeing them posting like 5 or more years ago, and how their personalities and their opinions shift. And so that's why I tend to ignore a lot of like the opinions online, specifically from people who are like 22 or 23 or whatever. Not to say that, I'm not ageist, reverse ageist. I'm not saying that young people cannot have valid opinions. Of course they do. I mean, when I was that age, I wanted to be listened to, and I think I had some valid arguments and whatever everybody has. But at the same time, you once you pass that age, you can identify the patterns. You can see, oh, they're at that stage. Now they're like complaining about that thing that it's very obvious. But of course, people who are living it, they don't have the reference, so they don't realize how obvious and how cringy it is for people who are observing them. So I don't know. I'm just talking vague stuff, but yeah. So I agree.
Well, cheers, dude.
Yeah.
What's your favorite game of all time?
Shenmue.
Never played it.
It's well, unfortunately, yeah. Not many people played. It's a game from Sega for that console I just mentioned.
The
for
Dreamcast?
Yeah. It's at the time it was the most expensive game ever.
Like to ever make?
Yeah, at the time it was released at the end of '99. The budget reportedly nowadays, some sources say between 40 and 70 million. At the time they were saying 100 million. But even if it's 40 million, it's still the most expensive game at that time ever. So
right. Yeah, not now.
Yeah, not now. Now it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much like a game like Red Dead cost. $500 million.
It's not very hard to know actually. Mostly a game costs. I mean, I don't know. You probably know this. You mentioned your father worked in the industry and all, but the game budget is mostly people's salaries. I mean, it 80% besides marketing after launch. No. Yeah. After, of course, there's that, but just the time of development, it's mostly people's salaries. So if you know the team like Rockstar has like 150 people working on the game for 5 years, and they're working in the US, then you can calculate like they're making at least 55,000 a year or 60,000. I don't know, maybe less.
But I'll stop you there.
Okay.
Is yes, like people's salaries are like we'll call it like the fundamental cost, but like when you start like hiring famous actors to do voices, motion capture, or whatever else, those kind of things, like that's when like the just salary budget really balloons.
Exactly.
To be something
No, you're
big.
right. Yeah, you're totally right. And of course, there's a lot of outsourcing for this and that in the. Yeah, but I'm curious. I'm sorry if you don't mind me asking. So you said your father worked in gaming, like
very short time.
Oh, okay.
Like he doesn't. Not now. Not currently. It was early gaming. It was 94 to 96. 1994 to 96. So only for 2 years. So. Do you know the company Sierra Online?
Yeah, of course.
They made like King's Quest.
Yeah.
I think they made Leisure Suit Larry. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Might have published, I'm not sure, but I played some of their games like.
But they made a few different Quest games.
Yeah.
Right? King's Quest, I think, was the most famous at the time. So there was a group that used to work for Sierra Online that started their own company.
Okay.
And then they were hiring artists and designers and programmers. And so my dad joined that company as an artist.
Oh, as an artist.
So,
like
but then that company fucking so they had one big title that they were working on, which was like a real-time strategy game, and so Warcraft. You ever play Warcraft 1 or Warcraft 2?
I played Warcraft 2 briefly on the computer. Yeah.
Okay, so Warcraft 1 was already out, right? Warcraft 2 was in development, and these guys were making their own real-time strategy game. And Warcraft 2 came out like 3 months or 4 months before this game came out. And so Warcraft 2 just dominated the market. Right. You know, everybody was playing it. And this game was like using like a slow engine, you know, like.
But it was released.
It was released. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was. Eventually, they got like a D&D license, so they put like a Forgotten Realm.
Do you know the name of the game?
Fuck, I can't even remember the name. Oh, okay. I mean, I could probably. I'll look it up. I could look it up and tell you.
Just curious. Later, but on PC, it was a PC.
Only, it was only PC. Right. So like, but it was a big flop. So the company closed.
Oh, that's a shame.
And that was it. I mean, that's the life of I think a lot of game companies are like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, they release a game, nobody likes it. There's a lot of these games, you know, they borrow money, you know, to produce it, you know?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't sell.
Yeah, most game companies, I think they depend on the success of their next game to survive. Most companies are one game away from shutting down, one failure from shutting down. Yeah.
So this was like a one-hit wonder failure.
Well,
you know, because they were working. They had like 3 games in development. There was like and so when this one died, and it was this epic flop. There's this
That's a shame. I wonder if it's still available somewhere. I mean, nowadays there's so many platforms online. You know, like. That have like old games like COG or GOG Online. I mean, not to mention
like some kind of like simulator where they have like you can
or even officially. I don't know. Like if
I don't know. Let me find the name and I'll let you see if you can pull it up.
Yeah, I would be curious to know. Yeah,
but it wasn't a very good game. Like I used to like in high school. So this was like my freshman and sophomore year. Like I was on independent study, so like I just go to see a teacher once a week, and so like after lunchtime I would go be the company intern at my dad's work, and so like the game designer for this game would just be like, tell me to do different things, like change all the art names a certain way, or play test. Like I play test this game like thousands of times, like writing anything that was like broken.
That's
you know, like, oh well, I attacked this building, but it didn't, you know, blow up. Write it down, you know, whatever, right? You know, just like whatever problems was it, and that was like I'd walk the boss's dog, like whatever shit people didn't want to do, and a teenager could take care of.
Oh, that's
like weird. But at nighttime, so they would work hard, and then around 8 o'clock, they would all start turning on Doom 2. Or Duke Nukem 3D.
Oh yeah, that's
you know.
Yeah,
and we'd have like the big old fucking LAN
parties,
you know, just blowing the shit out of each other.
Oh, that's cool. But you never worked again, like in gaming, like
no.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of like one of like the, you know, because like, if I could change my career at a young age, I wish I would have gone into gaming. So there's like 2 ways. Like if I wasn't gonna be like a designer or a graphic designer, I wish I would either like gone and try to become a chef, like cooking, or becoming a game designer. Okay. You know, so like I love like I have like board game designs. I have like 18 different board game designs. 3 I've never published any to sell, but like 3 I've put out that are playable, and a bunch of other ideas, you know, that are just waiting. And kind of like when I moved to China, so like when I was in this game company, like I was like you know, I was hanging out with a game designer. The game designer of this failed game took me underneath his wing, and you know, it was kind of like, I don't know if you've ever played like Magic the Gathering.
When I was in middle school,
like
I had some decks. I had the cards.
So like he introduced me to Magic, and he used to take me to like board game conventions that would happen like in Los Angeles or different places, like for the weekend. Like I would just, you know, he'd ask my parents like, hey, you know,
Yeah.
I'm going to this game con. Can your son go with me?
That's cool.
So like he introduced me to like Call of Cthulhu, like the Call of Cthulhu role playing and shit like that. And so I wish I would have stuck to that, you know, because like I started like having ideas for board games and games when I was very young. Kind of put that on hold because just life happened, and then around when I was 25, I decided, you know what, like let me actually like develop, you know, these board game concepts that I've had. So I spent 5 years like developing like a game. I'll show you later, but like, and then I moved to China, and then I put it on hold for like 10 years, 11 years, where I didn't touch it. I didn't even like have a copy of any of the games. I was like working on it hardcore and playtesting it and getting it ready. Moved to China, just like stopped, nothing. And then now that my kids are getting older, I'm like, they probably like that game. Let me dust out the old.
Yeah, you could do like a Kickstarter or whatever. Right?
That's the plan. So like maybe like a year or two, do a Kickstarter. Like the game that I want to sell first. Right now, I have the English version pretty much done. It just needs playtesting. But I want to make I'm thinking about releasing it first in China for a Chinese market.
Okay.
And then releasing the real version.
Because there were some places that opened a few years ago here in China, like these tabletop places where people go to play games, right? Even here in Shenzhen, I think I knew there was one in Futian, but I know I never visited. Just kind of like internet cafes, but for
board games,
right? Isn't there? I mean, I'm asking.
I think because I have a friend. I don't know if you know Eric. He's French, but he runs like board game nights in different places in Shenzhen. Like he'll run one in Futian. He'll run one in like Shili.
Maybe I've seen him in groups, but I'm terrible with names. So
but when I was talking to him, a lot of these like shops, like you're talking about, they open, they close.
Right.
They open, they close.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
That's the thing here. People,
you know, like if you want like. Maybe if you rented a place like this that's like dirt cheap, and you don't need to like, you don't need to survive off the, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's
the money from the shop. It could work.
Yeah. Especially here in Shenzhen, just business just keep. I mean, you know, you've been here for a long time. Just you walk the streets and then you walk again the next year, and
everything's different.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of them. So I can only imagine for more leisure kind of businesses like that, it's extra hard to keep them alive. Yeah. And
you were telling me earlier that you never got into board games, right?
No, not besides. I mean, as a kid, that was common. I mean, families play games like Monopoly.
Stratego.
Yeah, just Stratego and Stratego. I'm sorry, and Monopoly and a few others. Now that I'm not even remembering. Cluedo or whatever. Cluedo, something like that. Yeah, and a few others like the one with the doctor that buzzes when you touch
Operation.
Does that count as a game?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's more. No. I would call that more of a toy than a game.
Right? Yeah. I suppose. You know? Yeah, I suppose. But no, after that, no, I never, because I never interacted with people like in middle school and high school and whatever. I never knew anyone who was into that. So to be honest with you, I wasn't even aware that was a thing people played beyond their childhoods, which is kind of stupid now to realize that, because it's like those people, I suppose there's those people who think, oh, you still play video games as an adult?
You're an adult? What do you do with your life?
But a lot of those people, when they think that, it's simply because they don't interact with people who play video games. So it's not malicious when they think that way, a lot of them. So to me, with the board games, I was not aware that was a thing. I just never thought about it. And then with the internet and later I realized, this is still a thing. Like people still people
play them.
Yeah, there's communities but I never really played beyond that. I never played like Dungeons and Dragons or whatever.
Role playing.
Yeah, exactly. I never did that. I think that's more of an American thing as well. I don't know. At least where I grew up, I never met not even a single person.
RPGers.
No. Just life is the RPG.
And also too, like I think like for most people, right? As when we're talking about board games, right? They know like the basics, right? Like Monopoly, like Clue, you know, like the kind of like they're very basic board games,
right?
Compared to like the world of the independent, board games.
You need to read books to I suppose.
They have games that are like so complicated, like Zombicide, that are like tons of rules but super fun to play.
Yeah.
Cooperative game where you're apocalyptic.
I think that's the perception I have. It's just that's the how to say the cost of entrance. I don't know. There's a better expression for that. It's very high. It's very steep. I mean, the learning curve just for people to get into these board games. That's the impression I have, that you would actually have to read a lot of instructions or
at least have someone to teach you how to play.
Right. Exactly. So yeah. So that's a barrier. I think barrier of entry. I suppose to.
But thank God for YouTube, because now every time I get a new game, which I don't get too many, but like when I do, first thing I do is YouTube how to play, and they have a guy that's just like 10, 20 minutes, right?
Is it an Indian guy?
No, I mean there's tons of channels that do this.
That was a terrible joke. I'm sorry. Because when you Google on YouTube to learn how to do something, like if you have a problem on your computer or whatever, it's always an Indian guy. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that like in a xenophobic way or whatever. Right. It's just reality. If you Google how to fix your keyboard or whatever, it's always an Indian guy. So
but no, it's maybe they don't play board games. They're not in that market.
Maybe
they are in the tech market for sure. Yeah. But yeah, so it's just like you sit there 10 minutes, fucking drinking your coffee.
Yeah, you can learn everything.
Boom. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Let's go play. Yeah. Like this game, like I look at the rule book and it's like, I don't have time to read this thing.
Yeah, the best way to learn stuff is just to start, especially if you're with people who already know. I mean, things in general, right? Like, yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean,
so I wanted to ask you, like, well, first, cheers, dude.
Oh, again, sure. See, this is a problem for me. Sorry. Like, I don't drink. I mean, I never drink like at home. I never have alcohol at home or whatever. I only drink socially when I go out. And when I do it, and again, I shouldn't say this publicly, but I always drink too much when I go out.
All right.
So I'm one of those people who always want to stay till the lights are turned off.
Till the sun comes up?
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So if I have a drink in front of me, I'll just continually keep sipping it and sipping it and sipping it. Like I just cannot stop it because it's here.
Well, I used to before I used to drink much more than I do now. I used to throw parties, in Shenzhen. I used to throw the hip hop parties. And when I threw those parties, like, I was out 3 times a week, with my friends, drinking way too much, And then after I retired from doing parties, like, then I got a bar,
Really?
So Mambo in Futian.
Oh yeah.
So like I was one of the owners of Mambo.
Oh, okay.
And when you own a bar, it's just like you drink for free. So, I mean, you don't really drink for free.
Yeah, you had to pay for it.
You have to buy the bar first,
right.
But
the drinks, you had to buy the drinks, right?
Well, no, I mean, I own the place, so me and the owners were like.
Well, yeah, but you as the owners, you need to buy the stock of drinks.
Buy the stock, rent the place, hire the staff, make money or lose money, right? But anyways, yeah. So it's not really free drinks, but But when you go to like your establishment, and you have friends there, it's just too many nights. Fucking shit faced.
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And then once that closed after COVID, I like totally like cut out most of my alcohol consumption. Besides for like my podcast, like after COVID and Mambo closed, like I rarely go out. Maybe like to David's show when he DJs or something like that, or Edo, when they play the
the Fear
music.
Drops.
Fear Drops. Yeah. And but otherwise, it's just like I never drink at home. Just like you were saying, like
just never. Yeah.
So like when I sometimes like there'll be 2-3 weeks go by, like I never left the compound. Just
I can relate.
Just like my kids, my family, we all hang out here, go to the shopping mall next door. I mean, so like my new social life is like kind of like doing this podcast.
Oh,
and this is like my new like drinking life.
Yeah.
So when I'm on the podcast, I'm also like to drink and just keep drinking.
It's good.
So I wanted to ask you, like, what was the reason that you came to China? Like, you're sitting in Portugal one day and you're like...
I was sitting there.
Playing video games.
Sitting by the beach. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a long story, but I studied in university. My major was, it's hard to translate, but like the name of the major is basically Oriental Studies. So it's general studies about China and Japan, like language, geography, philosophy, history, blah, blah, blah.
So like a useless degree?
It's not.
I mean, no offense. Sorry,
No, I'm not
say
offended at all. I think all academia is a scam. So
I agree. Most of it.
Yeah, but nowadays all knowledge is available for free online. So, universities trying to convince us that we need to having an Oxford paper is like the most valuable thing in the world. Like that, for me, that's the real hate crime.
Bullshit. I had this conversation with this other guy, Seth, on this podcast. Like, I was, in my opinion, the only thing that the university is good for is if you want to become like a high level profession, like a doctor, like a lawyer, something that's very technical, and you need to like really study deep into something.
And you need to have other people to evaluate that you can do it, especially for like medicine or whatever. Sure, you can learn it at home, but who's there to see that you actually know how to do things, right? So. But yeah, but going back to that, so I studied that as my major, because when I was younger, I was really into Japan. Like many people my generation, I loved everything Japan, like music, cinema, not so much anime actually, but many things like
Nintendo.
Games of course, lifestyle, architecture. I really love architecture and
the samurai.
Well, not specifically, but sure. I mean, samurais are cool and ninjas as well, although we can never see them, obviously. But what was I going to say? But at the time in Portugal, the only major that included Japanese was that one.
Okay.
So that's why I went to that. But actually, that major, the main part was about China, not about Japan. And the last year of that major, the fourth year, was to study in China, in Tianjin. That's how I first ended up in China, because I was studying it in the fourth year with my colleagues. We all went to Tianjin. We stayed there for a year, and that was cool. And I traveled a little bit through China. I even came to Shenzhen while I was there. I came to Shenzhen, Hong Kong, and Macau on a small trip with a friend. Then I went back to Portugal. I spent some time in Switzerland, actually, because my parents were there. My parents were immigrants in Switzerland. I have a lot of family there. And then there was like the economic crisis in 2008. And by 2011, in Portugal, it was just a complete mess. Like unemployment, especially youth unemployment, was like officially, I don't know, like 40%. But like in practical terms, it was more than that. Like I literally almost didn't know anyone my age who had a stable job at the time. And I did have, I don't know if I should say that, I guess she doesn't mind. I had my ex-girlfriend at the time was living in Shenzhen, a Portuguese girl, was living in Shenzhen. And I decided, I'm not doing anything here in Portugal. I was actually working. I was doing journalist work because I did a little journalist thing. And then I was doing music festivals and movie festivals and stuff. But I was not making almost any money, just a few €100.
I mean, as a journalist going to these...
going to festivals and stuff. Which
reporting on it.
Yes, which was
super... fucking great. That's
it was awesome. I met a lot of guys from the Dire Straits and whatever. I had very great access, but the money was nothing. So I couldn't survive on that. I was still basically surviving thanks to my parents for the most part. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to try to go to China. I know I have this friend, my ex. I came here. She was here. She was nice enough to let me stay at her place in the first couple of months while I found a job here, and then obviously I found a place for myself to live, and that's it. I just decided to stay here, and
so you guys weren't dating at the time?
No, we were not. No, at the time she was actually dating a German guy, if I remember correctly. So there was nothing awkward or whatever, just friends, and she was living in a big apartment close from here actually. So yeah, it was
in your old neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's it, and then
you stayed.
Yeah, and then I stayed. Yeah, I stayed. And I came to China, and I stayed, and I had no plans. I always in my mind, because my parents were immigrants most of their life, like literally most. Like my father, when he was young, he ran away to France to live in Paris at the time, because when he was 18, because if he would have stayed in Portugal, he would have been forced to go to the army to fight in the colonial wars in Africa, because Portugal at the time had colonies like Angola and some others, and there was war.
This is after World War II.
Yeah. This was in the 70s, and the 60s, late 60s. So these countries were fighting for independence against Portugal, like Mozambique, Angola, Guinea-Bissau, and a few others. And at the time, like if you come of age, 18 in Portugal, you would have to be inscripted or whatever the term is, and you were expected
drafted.
to go there. Yeah, drafted, and you expected to go there and either get killed or kill innocent people, or hopefully nothing would happen to you.
Or injured and fucked up for life.
Yeah, something. It was a very bad period. So my father and a lot of my father's brothers, they ran away. They went to France and other places. My father went to Paris. My father was in Paris in '68 when there was like the big like the students' protests and whatever. And my mother as well, at very young age, she went to Switzerland. So when I was born, both of my parents were in Switzerland. So my point is just like for me being an immigrant, it was just a very natural thing. I was born in an immigrant family. A lot of my close family, like uncles and cousins, wherever, also like in France, in Switzerland, and even in Spain and other countries. So me growing up and becoming an adult, in my mind, it was always a natural thing. Okay, eventually I'll probably leave and go somewhere, like that was never a struggle for me. Because I realized that from talking to people from other countries, that for them, going to another country is like this big decision, like, I don't know about you, but where people really have to pause and think. But for me, it was like a very natural thing. It was almost inevitable in my blood. So as soon as I had the opportunity, exactly. As soon as I had the opportunity, I just decided, okay, I cannot get a job here in Portugal now. I cannot survive, so I'm just gonna try and go to China and see what happens, and that's it. It's
12 years later, you're still here.
Yeah, I'm still here, still alive. So
you ever think about like going back?
I mean, I think about it, but it's.
Where do you call home? Portugal, Switzerland.
Not Switzerland. No, I only lived in Switzerland till I was 5, and then I visited many times. I'm 100% Portuguese. Very proud of it.
Right.
But where I call home, I don't think I don't want to sound like very hipster or whatever. But I really don't think in those terms. I mean, obviously my parents are in Portugal. My heritage is in Portugal, so that's my citizenship. That's where, that's where I probably end up if I don't die before in somewhere else, which is, it can happen. But yeah, home is where I have money to survive, and right now home is here. So yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah. I've been here for same 12 years living, right? And it wasn't until like recently, like where I started getting more homesick, and thinking about maybe, especially like my kids are getting older now, it's like maybe move back to the States for a while. Maybe not. I don't know. Like it just, maybe I'm just going through a weird phase of my life, but, or like I guess maybe like the most perfect situation for me would be like half a year in the States or half a year in the summer or something like that.
I think it's always, for most people it comes down, I don't want to sound too practical or whatever, but it comes down to money really. If you're a very rich person, those kinds of decisions are very easy to make. If you're not, it becomes very hard. It's like, I don't know about your situation, I'm not asking. But like, for me, here in Shenzhen, it's always been kind of precarious. I've always been very comfortable in terms of having a salary and enough money to pay my month-to-month, my daily life and whatever. I'm not married and I don't have kids, so nobody depends on me. But at the same time, always precarious in the sense that I still have to renew my visa every year. I cannot like quit a company on a whim if I feel like it, because the visa depends on the company. So there's always like that management of like.
You can marry a Chinese girl and get a family visa.
Sure, but I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna marry. I'm not that kind of person, to be honest with you. Yeah, even if I do, I have a girlfriend, and even if we end up living together for the rest of our lives.
How long? Do you mind me asking how long you guys been together?
We know each other for like 6 years or something. We've been together for like.
She doesn't like pressure you, like.
No, she doesn't. No, she's super cool. She's like the coolest.
Same vibe as you.
I wouldn't
doesn't
say
want
the
married,
same.
doesn't want babies.
I wouldn't say, I realize I don't want to sound selfish. I realize that most girls want to be proposed and all that, and maybe, but I don't know. I'm very cynical about marriage, but I don't like talking about it because I realize that people are happily married. Like my parents have been married for 40 years or whatever, and I suppose you are as well. So I don't want to be that guy who's like, oh, you're married, that's stupid. No, so it works for some people, but at the same time, it doesn't work for most people. So I don't know. I'm very pragmatic about that, and I don't feel like that's something I need. I don't think I need to get the government involved in my romantic life. That's basically like my Bill Maher kind of perspective on that. But yeah, about the visa thing, it's always that. Like every year, you need to renew the visa, and there's always that lack of freedom, and freedom in terms of decision making. Because again, the visa depends on the company. So even if I'm very frustrated in a job, I need to kind of like keep it down, be subtle about it.
Listen to your fucking haircuts and just fucking find your zen. Yeah, but do the day.
Exactly. But more than that, I need to like be very strategic about it. Start thinking about, okay, I need to start looking for another company and contacting other companies. So then when I do find another one, I can like very quickly leave this one and start the other one and still no problem with my visa. Because otherwise, it's a huge problem having to leave the country and come back and whatever. Fortunately, that never happened to me. I've been very lucky, I guess, to manage that for 12 years, which I don't mean to brag, but I don't know many people who have done that for so long. I mean, by themselves. Again, like you said, without marrying or whatever. Like it's really I lost years of my life just in terms of stress dealing with that sometimes.
Fucking stressing about the visa.
Yeah, no, but seriously, it is.
No,
sometimes,
it is, man.
Yeah, because I've been laid off before from companies, not fault of mine, me and colleagues. So when that happens, you're suddenly in a situation where, okay, I need to find a job like tomorrow. Like it needs to happen now, or I need to or I lose all my life here suddenly. So that's it's not for everyone. And that's also when I talk to people like back home, like in Portugal. Sometimes people ask, "Oh, should I go there and do like you and work there or whatever?" I always tell people, it's not for everybody because not everyone is willing to deal with that kind of stuff. And some people, we see it here with people that come and go to China, and some people adapt and assimilate to that kind of situation. Others become very frustrated and find all kinds of reasons to complain, and so it's a very.
Do you ever take a teaching job, like
kitchen job? What
teaching?
Oh no, I never did actually.
That's very rare too for foreigners.
Yeah, but also because many reasons. One, I'm not good with kids. I have nephews, by the way. My sister has 2 kids. I love them. I would literally give my life for them if I had to. If they need my kidneys, take them out, whatever. But I'm not. I don't think I'm good with other people's kids or kids I don't know, and especially at teaching. So that's why I never did that. It never happens.
Right.
I never seeked out to do it. But I understand it would be easy, at least in the beginning. Not now, because I'm not a native English teacher. So now it would not be easy for me. But years ago, I could have easily gotten
anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
especially if you have like light skin.
Exactly.
You just show up and you're hired.
Yeah, exactly. But I never. On one hand, I never needed because I found other things, and I never looked for it. So it just worked out that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's like the basic job. Like I mean, most people like when they meet me, they're like, "Oh, you're a teacher?"
Yeah.
No, like fucking no. I've never teached. I can barely speak English good. I mean, I'm from the U.S., but like I talk like shit. I can definitely not teach nobody.
Well, so. But yeah, people ask me. Of course, people make that assumption here, right? Oh, you're a teacher or whatever, and it's like I don't know. And obviously, there's a stigma as well, I suppose, against English teachers, in a way, which I don't judge. I think being a teacher is, this is a cliche, but it's one of the most important professions in the world.
For sure. So, but I will say that there's a lot of teachers that I've met, especially when I had my bar, that I would never want them to like teach my kid.
Oh, you mean teachers here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course. I met many teachers here where I was like, Jesus Christ.
I don't know how you fucking got your job.
Yeah. But the rules have changed, right? Recently.
Apparently it's more strict.
Yeah, much stricter now. Now you need to really.
And a lot of like Also, too, like the economy is not great. You know, so a lot of like the more expensive schools and are been shutting down or cutting back.
Yeah.
You know, so like but yeah, it's
That's true.
but if you're like you get into a good place, like the salary is pretty decent. You know.
Oh yeah, I think I don't like talking about numbers specifically, but if I would have chosen to be a teacher at the beginning, I think I've almost for sure would have made more money than I did with the jobs that I had.
Right.
And just from what I hear from other people, so yeah, for sure, yeah.
And the cost of living. I mean, for me, like you know, like before, like I was telling you, like I would come here a few times a year, you know, and that was just literally just like going to the factories, you know, and then flying home. I never really like stopped to check out the city or look around. But then there was one job I was working on. I was an architect, and it was kind of like it was the end of his career, and this was kind of like this book was his like lifelong legacy. You know, like he was going to retire soon, and he wanted to make a book that showcased his full work, and everything was approved and signed off. Okay. So I was like, okay, so like now that the book's done, we'll schedule the printing date with the factory. I'll go to the factory and print the book, right? Because I'm very hands-on with the books I make. It's you know, I got to make sure like the color is correct, the binding is perfect. Like these are like they're not like mass-produced books. You know, they're very small quantities, very high quality. So like I flew into Shenzhen. You know, I met with the factory. We were supposed to print the next day. He calls me up, was like, "I'm not happy with the book I wrote. I want to change some words." I said, "Well, fuck, I'm just landed in China. I'm here. You know, the factory has all the paper we're ready to go." He's like, "I know, but like," so I was like, "So you want me to come back? And when you finish it, we print it." He's like, no, so it's only going to be a few days, like maybe a week at the most. So you stay there, and you know, I'll pay for it, and you print it when I'm done. So what was supposed to be 1 week ended up being 2 months living in a hotel in fucking Nanshan. And it was at that time where like I would go out, make friends, see the city, met some girls, saw the cost of living.
Right.
I was like, wow, I'm living in San Francisco. Like, San Francisco is really expensive, and Shenzhen's really cheap. And Shenzhen's actually like a really cool city, and there's like all this growth and development, and it's pretty amazing what they're doing here. And I was like, you know what? Like, crunching the numbers, like, and just I think I was just at a point in my life where I felt like stagnant. And I was like, yeah, might as well just fucking pack up and move and see what happens.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And I came over and met a girl, really liked her, made some babies, got married.
Good. Yeah, that's what happens, right? I mean, yeah. And Shenzhen, like you said, like Shenzhen is a cool city.
I think. I mean, it's. We're in a weird phase post COVID.
Yeah.
But like I would say like, and I still say this about Shenzhen. I think Shenzhen is one of the few cities in the world where if you have an idea and a concept and want to create something, like it's all possible here. You know, like if you have a product you want to make, you can go to any factory. They have every factory, anything you want to produce. You know, if you have an idea, whatever, if you hustle hard, you know, you can. I think it's anything is possible if you work for it.
Yeah.
You know, I think this is one of the few places in the world where that's possible. You know?
Yeah.
And especially if you want to produce something, you know.
And even for office jobs, I would say, because that's all I've been doing here, always working like, 9 to 5 or whatever. And even now I feel like if you're here and you need a job and you just look for it, like you really put your mind to it, you can talk to people and meet people and whatever. You can very easily find a new job almost overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just so many companies. That's one of the things I get. Like my parents, they very often, especially my mother wants me to go back and be there.
She wants her baby close by.
Yeah, my parents are getting older and all that. So, and I would love to also spend more time with them, of course. But at the same time, it's always about the money. I mean, in the end, and not to sound too, to whatever about the money, but here, if I would go back there, it's very hard to find a job. I mean, maybe I could find a job, but we're still talking just the scale of things. Like I'm Portuguese. Portugal's at like 10 million people, habitants country. The biggest city has like 600,000 people, 2 million in the urban area, whatever. So you never are in a place where all the companies are in the country. While here in Shenzhen, I live in Nanshan, there's literally more companies just in my district, like in a 2-kilometer radius around where I live, than there is in the whole of Portugal.
Right.
So like how can I leave this kind of opportunity to then go there and try to find a job, who knows where, that pays less for a lesser company, So I think here there's still a lot of that kind of opportunity, and there's still a lot of demand for people. Although it's becoming, of course, as foreigners in particular, specifically, it's becoming more and more challenging because obviously, I mean, just the Chinese workforce, they're super highly educated, very competitive, and it's for the most part, for most jobs, obviously they don't need foreigners. I mean, obviously, so it's definitely it's becoming harder and harder. I mean, what I did, I think, and what you did, I don't know, but at least what I did 12 years ago to suddenly come here. And then without having a house and without having a contract work, I don't think it would be. Maybe it would still be possible today if you really put your mind to it, but it would be much harder. Like it just so, and especially again with the visa situations at the time, I got my first visa in Hong Kong, where you could still go to Hong Kong, literally go there to an office, you paid some guys, and they will have your visa ready the next day, like for a year or whatever, which is insane. Not that's impossible now. I mean, the visa for the mainland, not for Hong Kong. So that just doesn't happen now. So if you would come to Shenzhen, you need a plan now. At the time, you could still do that thing where you'd come here without a plan, but now I don't think you can do it.
Right. You need to come. It's better you come with a plan.
Yeah.
And my situation is different because like I already had clients and I've never relied on money, trying to make money from the city. Like all my businesses for export, all my clients are for are overseas. So like I never had to deal with any of the trying to find a job here or that fucking whole system.
I always envied people like you. I mean, in a way, because I know a lot, not a lot, but over the years I've met people like you and others who have their business, and basically they're here. And correct me if I'm wrong, but don't depend on the here to survive, because your business, like you're saying, is with clients overseas, and you have the resources here from the factories here, so you're working that dynamic, right?
Right.
But I, as a person, I never had like the business. I was never a business-minded person. I'm never the kind of person who would start a business. So I always admired in a way, people like you do that, but always in a sense, knowing that's something I would never be able to do. It's just, so I always find that very interesting, but like from a distance, because I know that I wouldn't even know where to start, Do
you ever try to like get like into like gaming, because I think that a lot of like these Chinese gaming companies are growing, and they're getting more and more of their games published outside of China, where they probably need, like marketing and community management or whatever else.
That's one of my big frustrations here, is that I never really managed. I seeked for it. I tried. I never really managed to get a gaming job here. I worked for a gaming publisher here, a mobile gaming publisher, which I'm not anymore now. And that was kind of, it's hard to talk about without getting into details, but I tried many times to get into companies like Tencent, obviously, which is the biggest one, and many others here because there's a lot of gaming companies.
NetEase or whatever.
Although NetEase is more established in Guangzhou, but they also have some smaller offices here. But there's many other like smaller publishers and whatever. And it's really, really, I mean, from my experience, I'm sure many others had different experience, but for me, I always found it super challenging on many levels. One, the first step is like the recruiters. Because the first step, you're dealing with recruiters, and either the recruiters from within the company or hired by the company.
Headhunters.
Yeah, they're people who know basically nothing about gaming, even very often the ones that work for the gaming companies. So it's extremely frustrating to have a conversation with those people and try to explain to them what you know about gaming and about when they know nothing, when they're just literally just looking for keywords on your CV or and when you don't have the experience, like I didn't have like background in gaming professionally speaking.
Right.
For them, I was almost always automatically not
put on the rejected pile.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like so that has always been super frustrating for me. More recently, also most Chinese companies here, they really insist on having people who are very good in Chinese, which I'm not. And Tencent in particular, like forget about it now. I think it's almost impossible to get a job at Tencent if you're a foreigner here and you're not very good at speaking Chinese. Yeah, which I totally understand. I'm not judging that, but at the same time, I did witnessed frustrating situations for me where I've seen other foreigners being hired for positions like business developer or whatever in gaming companies here, who happen to be people who speak good Chinese, but literally know nothing about gaming. Like for them, that job is like they could be working in a smartphone company or a shoemaking company.
Doesn't
it would
matter.
be the same to them.
Yeah.
So it's
There's
for
no
me it's very it's
it.
very sad to see that I could be doing that job so well, but they're hiring that individual just because of the language thing. And again, I cannot judge. If I say too much about that, they will say, if you're, just go back home. If you're, like that kind of stuff, just don't complain. You're in China. And of course I get that. But at the same time, I think it's also, it goes against the best interests of the companies because ultimately they're hiring people who don't really serve their ultimate goals, which is, and that's, and we see that in practical terms in the output from these companies, from Tencent, that even though it's the biggest gaming company in the world, by numbers, but their output internationally is very limited, and their awareness from their products internationally is very limited, and that's one of the reasons that it's my theory, but for me that's one of the reasons is everything is so Chinese centric and focused, the operations, that they fail to have the right people to really reach out to the rest of the world
and push it.
Yeah, exactly, in ways that they could. So, but anyway, that's a big topic. But yeah, that personally has been probably the biggest frustration for me, just being here and always hustling, trying to get a job in gaming and constantly, almost always being rejected because of very trivial reasons that really and of course, if you don't know the people inside the companies, like if you know people inside the companies, it becomes much easier. But I'm kind of an antisocial kind of person. I'm not going around like so it becomes hard. Yeah. So.
Yeah, because I can see it, man. I think you deserve a job in gaming.
Well, I did. Thank you. I do write articles. I did more before. I'm trying to get more back into that, writing some articles from some gaming media, but international, not Chinese, and trying to do some consultancy, which I still do for some international developers who are interested in getting to the Chinese market. But that's not full-time jobs, and again, it doesn't guarantee a visa. So ultimately, being a foreigner here in China, I always first priority. I need a job, whatever it may be. I mean, I'm not going to work at McDonald's because I can't, and I won't.
They won't hire
me exactly. But you know what I mean, right? But I still need to get a job, even if it's not something I'm super passionate about. And I am super passionate about my new job I just got recently. But even if I'm not, I still need
super passionate.
Yeah, I still need to get it, and I need to ensure my survival in that regard. So
3D printing, right?
Yeah, 3D printing. I'm gonna start hopefully next week. Actually,
what kind of 3D printing?
Actually, the company,
like miniatures, they make machines.
No, they focus on the software side of things and on the motherboards, on the controllers for the 3D printing machines. So and I'm gonna work in PR. I'm gonna work with.
You have 3D printers in your office?
In the they do. It's a big office. Yeah, they have a lot of stuff there.
Can you print stuff?
I didn't start working there. I didn't start working there. I mean, if you have business interests or whatever.
No, I have no. I just want to print pieces for board games.
Well, I don't know. Ask me again in maybe 3 months from now after my probation period.
My angle is, listen, we can make a vlog about this company.
Oh, that's what I'm gonna work. I mean, I'm gonna be working with influencers. So.
Well, I'm not an influencer yet.
But if you make a video, you are. So,
so like, I want to print some stuff. Now I can make a video and promote this company, and I can. I don't have any followers, but I've got some decent work I can show you.
But I think that's actually something that could happen in the future. No, really, because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to reach out to people to produce content. I mean, from the marketing side of things. So that's gonna be my job, like marketing, PR, and
well,
stuff.
if you print my stuff, I can help you make content. So.
Sure. Well, but seriously, if you want, message me again about that, like in a couple of months, once I'm more comfortable there and I know how things work, and then
Later, I'll show you some stuff I printed. Okay. But I even, like, at one point I thought about buying a 3D printer, and I was like, fuck, like, because I was paying this company to print some stuff for me, and they do really good work, right? I was like, fuck, maybe I just buy a 3D printer. And so I went on YouTube and I was like, watching the YouTube guys, and like, okay, you have to maintain the machine, and you have to buy this and clean this and do this. It's like, no.
It's hard, like it's very complex.
Not really. It's just actually, I don't think it's hard at all, but it's just like a level of shit that I particularly don't want to be invited into my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, sometimes like convenience, you know, is more valuable because time is valuable. And I guess that's I think like I want to print something, like I have to do all these things and this and that.
Yeah, if you can just pay someone to do it.
You know, time is important. You know, you got to balance. You know, time with your life, your family, your work.
Your
extracurricular activities that you want to do.
Exactly. Oh yeah, time is the most
maintaining
important.
a 3D printing machine just didn't fit into the box. Right. So I was like, you know what, fuck it.
Well,
no.
I will learn about it in the upcoming months. I know almost nothing about 3D printing for now.
Right.
So I'll be learning.
But I mean, I think it's 3D printing is I think it's such a cool new tool that, you know, in the past like 5 years that's becoming affordable, and people are doing so many amazing things with it, you know. Right. Not just from like printing little small plastic stuff, but like, you know, printing buildings.
Oh yeah,
you know, printing fake
houses
meat.
Now.
You know,
like
it's like it's amazing what it can be.
Cars
what can be done.
Guns.
Right. Plastic guns.
Yeah, you can print. I mean, everything on this table could be 3D printed, right? I mean.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, except the drink, but
Yeah, except the drink and the ice.
Well, even the ice you could. Like,
and then someday probably could. Yeah. I mean, they are printing like meat and shit. Right.
Right. Yeah.
You know, food.
Yeah. So, I saw videos about that. Yeah.
Well, I guess like you could 3D print chocolate into the perfect fucking sculpture.
Right. Yeah. I never thought of that, but definitely. It's cool. Yeah, it's one of those things like we're living in the future, right? Like 15 years ago or whatever. Like I don't know if it was unimaginable, because I guess 3D printing has been around for decades to some degree. Like.
But it hasn't been available to consumers or massively used.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Now it feels real, like it's like this.
You know, like before, like if you wanted to make like a plastic figure for a game or whatever, right? You'd have to make a mold, and then you'd have to like mass produce it, and you know, you couldn't just make one because that's not cost effective.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you'd have to make 500, 1,000 or whatever. But now you can just be like, okay, I need 2 of these. Boom, boom, boom. You know, 1 of these, 10 of those. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, that's what people do now.
Drink a little beer when you come back. It's fucking all ready for you.
Do you play like Warhammer or stuff like that? Like
no, but like Hero Quest here has a lot.
Oh, Hero Quest has also
has like a lot of like miniatures and stuff like that. So I'll show you, so you can see like.
Oh, okay.
You know. a lot of different miniatures for.
Can I touch one?
Yeah, you can help yourself, dude.
Just to.
So like, and this is like a more complicated one here where they have like furniture and.
That's cool. It's like a gargoyle.
Yeah, it's like
I don't want to break it.
some demon or something. No, it's all good, dude.
Yeah.
It's just a plastic piece. It's not.
That's it. I don't know. Yeah, it's like a gargoyle.
You know, but if you want like a fireplace or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So this is the kind of stuff I wanted to like 3D print, you know? Wolves. You know. Fucking.
Are these supposed to be painted over, or they're just?
You can paint it if you want to.
Because I mean, they're already like blue, and they have like just one color. I don't know.
Yeah, for the game, like red represents like the stuff that like the heroes would use. So this is like a hero character.
Okay.
And then these are like the bad guys, and there's kind of like every expansion they have like different color themes. So like, yeah. So like.
Yeah. It's okay.
These guys are like the. So the original color was like the green goblins and orcs and shit like that.
Oh.
So.
Okay, it's like the army man. I mean the color.
Yeah. So like the red is for the heroes. So like all red stuff is hero related.
Okay.
But and then different expansions have like different colors for like the monsters and stuff like that.
That's one of the things. I mean, kind of off topic, but related. One of the things when I came to China, I had a friend. We would go to some shopping malls, and here in Shenzhen, like in Lohu, like I don't know if you know, like the Comic City Mall or whatever, that has a lot of video games and action figures and stuff like that. Because I always liked action figures. Like I had a lot.
Do you collect or no?
Not here. I don't have here, no. But back in Portugal, I had a few. But that's the thing. I wanted to buy some here, like some big ones and whatever. But then I realized that the ones, the coolest ones that I wanted were all those like gray ones that you're supposed to paint after.
Yourself, yeah.
So like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Right. So it's going back to the step of like, I'm the same way. Like, fuck, do I really want to like add painting into my life?
And I'm not talented to do that anyway. It would be a mess if it would look like all of them would look like the Joker or whatever.
You know, but so one idea that I had, because actually like. I did buy some paints. You can see them over there.
Oh, okay.
You know, I don't want to paint on the original pieces. I'm kind of like I like to preserve things how they were manufactured.
Yeah, me too.
So like, I started like printing like, for example, like the orcs and the goblins and skeletons. So I downloaded some files and I started printing like stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna paint on these. And I'll use these instead of like the ones that provided in the game, and keep the game ones kind of mint.
Yeah,
you know, kind of thing.
That makes sense. Yeah,
but I was thinking that so you could take something like that, right? Like the action figure or whatever, and you could take it to Dafan Art Village.
Oh right.
All right. So I was thinking about like I wonder like if I brought like a box of miniatures to like an artist. Yeah. I said I wanted to paint it. Here's the picture reference for you.
I never thought of that. So they would do that, right?
Probably, of course, for sure. I mean,
they'll do anything about. I mean, it's painting. Yeah,
it's painting, right? You just say I want acrylic paint. I don't want oil.
Never occurred to me, but yeah,
right.
Yeah,
they probably do like you just bring some photo references. You know, I want it like this, right?
If I would have thought of that like 10 years ago, I probably bought like some big like Dragon Ball Z action figures and take to them.
And they would have like, okay, 300 kwai, I'll paint it for you. You know, and then you have this masterpiece.
Oh, even less probably.
I mean, maybe even less.
Because that's the thing. The thing why I was so enticed by that is because those action figures I would see in those malls were so cheap.
Right.
And I realized a lot of them were not like original, but the quality was still like super good. I mean, really good. Like it's the kind of stuff that if I was buying back home in Portugal, it would cost like you know, like something that there would cost like 100 euros. Here I could probably find for like 100 kwai, which is like a tenth of the price or something.
Right.
So and yeah, there's a lot of that here in China, right? I mean, that's the thing. That's why I have so many games here and I collect and whatever. And that's another big source of stress for me because if I need to leave suddenly, I literally I calculated this. I calculated like if I would ship everything out, I would have to spend at least like 40 to 50,000 kwai just like to ship and stuff. And still, I would not be sure that it would go through because then there's a whole issue with customs. When it gets there, you know, they might keep it in customs until you pay like taxes.
Big taxes.
And if you pay taxes, it will be even more than the actual shipping. So you're talking about like 100,000, maybe potentially yuan just to ship like video games.
Right.
And you know, so that makes me very anxious. Like just when I look around at my games at my home and stuff, because
you're so attached to them, you know, it's like your collection.
And not just that, because a lot of them are really very valuable and very rare. Like there's, I'm very passionate about that. There's an historical value to a lot of, like, I have games, literally some of them like editions that were, there's like 200 300 copies ever produced.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a few of those like that, so I really don't want to lose that stuff, but at the same time anyway, I've been looking into that. The easiest way, not the easiest, but the more sure way to do is actually by train. Because if you ship by airplane or boats or whatever traditional companies, you actually can. It's very hard to ship discs, like disc-based games and stuff.
Oh,
like,
I see.
they just won't. They don't allow it. It's almost like trafficking or whatever. But by train there are ways, and by trains actually
so like
cheaper.
go up through like Russia.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, I've been talking to a guy, an agent, and I know other people worked with him, and they guarantee it works. So I'm gonna try actually very soon. And
send a small shipment, see how it goes.
I'm gonna send just a box with like maybe a few PS2 games that I
Something
really
you don't care about. Right?
Exactly.
The
it's still gonna
batch.
cost me like maybe 1,000 kwai or whatever, but just to see if it gets there.
Right.
And the guy told me,
and the condition that gets there.
Yeah, exactly. And the guy told me it takes at least a month to get there.
Yeah,
so
I'm
like,
route.
I don't care as long as it gets there. Right. You know, like if I don't need to spend more money than that in customs, then that will be a huge relief, and I can start. You know, because that's actually one of the things that's keeping me in China. Is all the games I have.
Sure,
I'm not exaggerating. Seriously, that's literally one of the reasons. Like, if it was not for that, I might have left already. Like when I had those crises with visas and whatever, I just might have just packed up and go. But it's always all the stuff I have here that keeps me like
stressed
keeps me
up.
fighting to stay here. Yeah,
that's
really,
funny,
like
dude.
yeah, hoarding stuff. Yeah.
Man, like you were telling me earlier, like how big your collection is, and you acquired all those games here in China.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah.
And how many like systems do you have?
I mean, active. Well, I have a lot of systems, but I have games for more systems than the ones I have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I buy a lot of the games I buy are old games. Mm-hmm. So actually, China, it's a very good place for collectors, I think, especially if you want to get like Japanese editions of games and stuff like that. Sorry, you can find everything here. I mean, almost everything on Taobao and other platforms. So yeah, I just buy random games, old rare games, whatever I see on Taobao. Sometimes I don't buy them to play them. I just buy them just
to have it.
Yeah,
to look at
to
it.
stare at them and to collect. Yeah, like preserve or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. I just love that. Yeah.
You gonna make a museum someday?
Yeah, that's literally an idea I've been having for many years. I almost did that. Almost had them an exhibit a few years ago in a museum in Anshan in OCT.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking thanks to the help of a friend at the time. Well, a girlfriend, I should say at the time. But then we broke up, so that plan went away because she was my connection to the museum. But yeah, that's something I would love to do. Yeah.
Hey, you should, man. I mean, I haven't seen your collection, but it sounds pretty massive. How many games do you have? Do you have a count?
I mean, I never counted, but I think more than 1,000 easily. I mean, physical games, somewhere between 1,000. I mean, probably 1,500, something like that, 1,500. I guess maybe more. I really don't know. It's hard.
Do you ever buy digital games?
Oh yeah, I buy digital. Like most new games, I buy are digital nowadays. For the PS5 and the Xbox, I almost only buy digital. Yeah.
You don't buy the box and stuff?
No, I love having physical. I'm a huge defender of physical, and I hope it lasts forever. But for many reasons, just convenience, I just end up buying digital. And then when I really like a game, or for whatever reason I want the physical, I'll buy the physical. So I have a lot of games like sealed, you know, like with the plastic wrap and whatever. I just never opened them. Even some games I played, like more recent ones, just because I like to have it. And yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like I used to be like 100%. Like I wanted like, so with the PS4, you know, like I just only bought the games. I don't. The PS4 also had the digital store, right?
Yeah. Even the PS3. Yeah.
So even the PS3. So,
Yeah.
but the PS4 I only bought. I never bought any digital games. I didn't even have like a PlayStation account.
Yeah.
Maybe I did. I don't know.
You probably had, but
Probably forced to.
you probably didn't have like the payment methods associated with it and stuff.
So, and I was just like, I just want to have, my collection. Like when I think about like, like back in the day, I had my CD collection or my VHS or DVD collection or
Vinyls.
Blu-ray or vinyl, right?
Yeah.
You can see them all lined up on the wall, and that's my
the
collection,
best feeling,
right? But then when I bought the PS5, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy the disc version, and then I started like when I first bought it, I started buying only disc, right? And then I was just like, but I had the account. I was paying the money for
PS Plus.
PS Plus, right? I have the premium, the best, right? And then I started downloading all these free games, and then so you're playing all these free games or whatever included in the subscription, and then you want to switch to a game that's needs a disc.
Exactly.
It's just like, oh fuck, I gotta get up. Exactly. I gotta go get the fucking thing out of the box.
That's the reason.
Put it in the machine.
Yeah, that's the reason. Yeah.
And then so for example, when I first bought because I bought my PS5 late. I didn't buy it when it first came out. I was looking at the prices here in China, and I was like, man,
the scalpers.
I just can't justify paying double the cost for what I would pay for in the US.
It was actually double, the beginning, I remember.
It was just
I also waited.
I was like, you know what? We're still having fun with our PlayStation 4. I don't really care about, the best graphics as long as the game is, games are fun.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, Red Dead Redemption 2, one of the most beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Detailed, iconic, epic games. Is a PS4 release. So I was just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna wait until the prices normalize, and then I'll buy the PlayStation. And so then when I bought the PlayStation, I bought Borderlands 3, right? Because Borderlands 3, they have the 4-screen. Couch split screen. Okay. You can have 4 players playing that game.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So so I mean the most of the games I try to buy or look up are all couch co-op games, just because I want to play with my kid, and my kid wants to play with his friends. So that's the majority of the games.
Did you play It Takes Two?
I played a few minutes of it.
Okay.
But my kid and his friends, they've beat it a few times.
Okay. It's one of my favorite games ever. Top 5. I played that with my girlfriend, and I just loved it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it looks so cool. I've watched them play, at home while I'm cooking or just chilling on the sofa and watch them play. But my son, he likes that same. I think that same company made another game, which is the prison game.
Oh yeah.
And he prefers that game.
Inside or something out.
Yeah. So he likes that game almost better than It Takes Two.
I didn't play that one.
And that game is much more slow. It Takes Two is kind of it's fast, action, is all, but this one's you have to wait 5 minutes.
Way Out. I'm sorry. I think it's called Way Out. I'm not
Maybe
sure.
Way Out, yeah.
It's one of those things. If I was online, I would know immediately, but when talking to someone, anyway. Sorry to interrupt you.
But so I bought both of those. They're in a 2-for-1 bundle. So I was just okay, I'll buy it.
There's also another game from the same company called Brothers, or Tale of Two Brothers, or something like that. It's also co-op where you control two brothers, and you control one and the other. So
I haven't played that one.
I didn't play it as well, but it exists. So
So going back to my original point about Borderlands. I bought the disc version. So we were playing the disc version. I got so fed up with always having to go dig out the disc and then put it back in. Because my kid was still playing some of our old PS4 games, right? So the discs were always moving in. Plus, I have young kids, and my daughter would grab a disc and scratch it across the floor, right? So I was just So I ended up like buying like all the games that I liked for the PS5 that I bought in disc form. I ended up deleting them from the console and then buying like the digital versions again, just so I didn't have to fucking switch up the disc.
Yeah, but that's literally the main reason why I mostly buy digital for the recent consoles, and in particular in the Xbox, the Xbox like the Series X, it has a feature that the PS5 doesn't have, which is unfortunate because it's called Quick Resume. So basically on the Xbox, you can like you playing a game, you go back to the home menu. You click the other game, you start playing it, you go back to the home menu, you go back to the previous game, you just click it, it continues where it was. And the PS5 can do that. But then the thing with the Xbox, you can turn off the Xbox completely. You can like disconnect it from the plug and whatever.
Oh, it still has that?
Yeah, you can go back. I've experienced this myself. You can go back like months later and that game is still there. You click, it resumes exactly from the pause menu where you had it. And that's amazing, I think. And you can have like 3 or 4 or 5 games at the same time, always cached in the console. So once I start getting used to that, like there's no way I'm not gonna like be swapping discs each time, because if you swap a disc, then the game needs to restart. You have to go through the continue, select, blah blah, you know, and it just drags. You just lose the mood to just play a game.
You gotta watch the intro, the fucking logos again,
the logos, the studios, whatever. Yeah, and in the PS5, it's kind of the same thing, because you can also, like you're playing, you put the console on rest mode and whatever, and you have, and yeah, it just becomes a drag to get the physical discs and stuff. So yeah, but
what did you think of Cyberpunk?
I love it. I played it when it came out. Well, 1 or 2 months after it came out on the Xbox Series X. I'm one of those people.
That's the latest Xbox.
Yeah. I had the Series X before the PS5 exactly because of the price thing. Because the Xbox at the time, the price was kind of normal, while the PS5 was like 9,000 kwai or whatever.
Yeah, it was just
ridiculous.
Crazy.
I didn't want to give that money to scalpers. And yeah, I played the game. At the time, the game was being, it was being trashed online and everywhere, and rightly so, because it had a lot of bugs and stuff.
Yeah, they released it too early.
If you were playing it on PC, on a good PC, or in that case on the Xbox, I had a wonderful experience with it. I saw very few bugs and whatever. I loved the game. I replayed it recently when they released all the new patches with the new graphics. Yeah, Dogtown and everything. And I love
Phantom Liberty?
Yeah, Phantom Liberty. Yeah, exactly. That's a DLC. And I love it. I love it. I think it's amazing. It's almost like the Red Dead Redemption 2 for me. It's like there's so much details, so much stuff in there. I mean, I really like it.
Yeah, I love that game. Good. But I bought it for the fucking... So I was super... When I saw the trailer, and the trailer was a little bit misleading. Right?
That's one of the
launch
issues.
trailer,
Yeah.
But so when the game first, I didn't have the PS5. I had the PS4.
Oh, that's okay. That's not good.
Yeah, that's not
for
good.
That game in particular.
Yeah, so I bought it for the PS4, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? I mean, it was like broken. It was ugly. It was just like
they removed it from the PS Store and everything.
Yeah, there was like the whole launch controversy.
Yeah, exactly. Like
it was just like
people and stuff.
And I'm really surprised that company, because I really had a lot of respect for that company, like especially with like The Witcher was such a great game. You know,
CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, CD Projekt Red. And so I thought that I was surprised they would release the game. And they must have known it was in that bad of a state.
Oh, they knew for sure. I mean,
so why would they do that? I mean,
corporate pressure. I mean,
were they hurting for money? I mean,
the decision making guys. I'm sure the people working on the game, like the developers and whatever. I'm sure most of them were like,
don't release it.
Yeah, they were like embarrassed of it. But then you have the higher ups. People, some of them probably don't even play video games, and they had that thing that's scheduled. Okay, we need to have that profit for this quarter to get whatever, meet these goals, and that's just how it goes,
So like I bought it, I fucking waited a year and a half or 2 years, I can't remember how, but then when I finally got like the PS5,
much better,
and
Yeah.
And but what surprised me about that game was like they're only gonna do. They stopped, I guess, right after Phantom Liberty.
Yeah, now they completely stopped developing. They're not doing anything else. They're working on the next Witcher. They just announced publicly a few days ago on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, everybody knew that already. That they were working
yeah,
on
but
the
now
Witcher
they're not
4.
even doing maintenance, anything like no small updates, nothing. Just
But I'm so surprised because I think like Cyberpunk could have like a very long term success. You know, like you could probably do 4 or 5 expansions with that game.
Yeah, definitely. I would like them to do because
I wish they would do because
I love that world.
It's such a great game. You know,
it's just there's so much in there. It's kind of
And it must be. I'm sure if they did, it would be profitable. I mean, I don't know the economics of making these games, but like
the DLCs, the expansions. I mean, obviously they always sell like usually less than 25% of the original user base for the full game, so it's always like diminishing returns.
Yeah, but like the hard work, most of the hard work is already done, right?
Yeah.
Essentially,
sure.
right?
Well, I mean, if you played Phantom Liberty, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you've seen that. That's like they put a lot of work on that. Like that's, I mean, because that city, the Dog Town, it didn't exist in the main game. And that's super detailed. And again, all the work with the actors and everything, and the all the missions, like
and voiceovers. And
that's
everything.
That's more work than many full games that we see being released by other companies. So they're very ambitious and meticulous, and it's not easy. But at the same time, I'm also happy that they're working on the next Witcher because I also like The Witcher 3. So but I like Cyberpunk more, honestly. Yeah,
I like I haven't. So I've played like maybe like 5-6 hours into The Witcher.
Oh, okay.
And so my problem with The Witcher, and I love it. It was a very good. I thought it was a very good game, and I started on the PS4. For some reason I couldn't get the free upgrade from PS4 to PS5
because of the regions. Probably.
So I have no idea.
Yeah, it's a mess. Yeah.
It should just be like automatic. Push a button is done. There's a region bullshit that's retarded.
It is on the Xbox. I mean, I don't want to sound like a fanboy. I don't like Microsoft, but that's one of the advantages. If you're dealing with Xbox console, all that stuff is completely seamless. They
figured it out.
It just works. But on the PlayStation, you always have the issue with the regions and the accounts. And if you had the game on the previous console, like a Hong Kong region or whatever, and then you have the DLC you bought on the American store or something, or even the saves. Yeah, you need to pull the saves manually and stuff. It's like it's so many things. Anyway,
they got to figure that out because we're in a modern world now, you know. And so going back to The Witcher is that before I ever played The Witcher, I played Red Dead Redemption, and then I played The Witcher.
Oh, okay.
And then the thing that like fucking threw me off was the horseback riding.
Yeah.
You know, I was just like, holy shit! Like in Red Dead Redemption, like the horseback riding is so perfect and seamless.
Yeah.
And then when you like go from that to The Witcher, where you're riding fucking roach around.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like this is so fucking janky.
Yeah, it's an older game.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's not fair for me to complain about that.
Although I don't even know if it's that older. I mean, The Witcher 3 and Red Dead Redemption 2.
I think The Witcher 3 was out for a long while because they had The Witcher and then they had like so many expansions and then like the Wild Hunt, you know. So it was out for.
Yeah.
I think the Wild Hunt was already out before Red Dead was released.
Yeah, I mean, Witcher 3 definitely came out before Red Dead Redemption 2. But then the expansions, I think, as well.
I think all the expansions were done at that point.
Yeah, probably. You know? Yeah.
So I ended up buying because I couldn't get the free upgrade because I was like, fuck, I really like the Witcher story.
Yeah.
I never read the books, but like, I like those first few hours that I played. So I bought the PS5 version. Never once launched it or played it. You know, so it's just like sitting.
Well, do it. I mean, it's good.
It's a good game. No, I like it.
And you can play. You can also play the expansions. I mean, separately from the main game.
I bought the whole.
Because actually, in my opinion, the second expansion, Blood and Wine, I think that's the name, is even better than the main game. It's really cool. Like it has like some vampire stories, and the setting is different, more colorful, more. It's really good. Yeah.
No, I really like the the first 2 seasons of the Netflix show.
Oh, the show. Oh.
Did you watch it?
I honestly I hated the first season.
The first season even?
I didn't like it.
Really?
I really didn't like it. Yeah,
Why?
So, I thought the whole thing the whole thing they did with the time, like where they put like what's the word, where they show scenes from the past and the future. They just mix up the timeline, right? I thought that was like made in I don't want to say confusing, because I was not confused once I realized that was happening, but it just was just made in a way that didn't really serve the story in any way. I felt like it was unnecessary. Like they could have just made it in a more linear way and it would be fine. I think most people watching that show, at least in the first 2 or 3 episodes, didn't really realize that was even happening. I don't know. I don't want to presume by. And besides that, I don't know. I just didn't find it very interesting. I like the main actor, the guy, the Superman guy, the Cavill, whatever his name is. I think he's perfect as a Witcher. I mean, based on the game, although the series is based on the books, but. Really,
yeah, he was perfect. He was like identical to the game.
No, he's great. Yeah, he's amazing. The voice and everything, characterization. But I don't know, but everything else, it didn't really hook me. I don't know. It's just personal. I'm not,
I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not too picky about my content, because like a lot of the content I rarely do I sit down and just watch something.
Yeah, I get it.
So like when I watch something, it's like, okay, I need to spend 5 hours designing this book. So a small thumbnail-sized window in my computer is gonna be running Netflix.
Oh, okay.
And I'm mostly just like listening.
Oh, that's cool.
To my show. So I'm like working, and then when I hear something that becomes interesting, I'll take a look. But then I'll burn through like. A full season of something in a day while I'm working.
Don't you listen to podcasts instead?
I do listen to a lot of podcasts, yeah.
Yeah, me too. So I listen to a lot of podcasts also when I'm gaming. So
I never do that. When I'm gaming, I just want to
I do with some games. Like I play football games.
Like FIFA?
Yeah, well, I play PS.
Whatever.
PS, yeah. But yeah, because that I don't need the sound, so I have the sound turned off from the game. And so I'm just literally just listening to a podcast on the side, and I'm 100% focused on the podcast, but I'm still playing it because my brain doesn't need to work really to play that kind of game.
This is automatic.
And it's just my relaxing time. It's just my moments. So I just like to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite. So like, I listen to Joe Rogan, and I've been listening to him for like.
I was afraid to say that. I mean, I'm glad you do as well because I listen to him as well.
Dude, I've been listening to him since, man. Like when he was doing like fleshlight advertisements.
Oh, okay.
Like
so you're listening
fucking long time ago.
I'm listening since 2015 or 16, I think.
Was he with Red Band or no? Or with Jamie?
I can't remember. I think it was always with Jamie.
Yeah, like I was with him like early Rogan because I was working some shitty job at the time, and me and my dad would fucking listen to stuff. At that time I was working with my dad, and we were just fucking listening to fucking podcasts. And it was like early Rogan where he was just like talking about like his advertisements was like the fleshlights like
really? I never saw that. I need to go back. I need to check on.
Yeah,
YouTube.
like that was like their number one sponsor for a long time. Like the beginning of the show was the Joe Rogan Experience. So you need a fleshlight. It fucking makes you feel so good, right?
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because now he never talks about advertising.
No, nothing.
No, he's a billionaire almost.
Yeah, now he's set. But like in the beginning, man, he was just.
But it's great to talk about that because I never talk about that with anyone, like personally, almost anyone. And online, you cannot mention, I mean, you can, but like on Twitter or whatever, I cannot mention that I listen to Joe Rogan. Because if you listen to Joe Rogan, one, you're a Trump supporter, you're a white supremacist, you're a Nazi, you're whatever, but I'm
that's all bullshit. I mean,
of course it's bullshit because even the guy is a progressive guy, he's left, even though, he supports guns and all that, but generally he's a very left-leaning guy. And
mostly.
Yeah. But there's all these misconceptions and ideas like the media, mainstream media and whatever, they all hate him and they try to paint him in this lied like literally like it's such bullshit. It's
Right.
that's such
I mean, especially like,
misinformation,
especially when the whole. I mean, I think he was pretty smooth until COVID came around, and then
that's when he put the wrench in the gears of
of his whole thing, you know.
Yeah, but
About the ivermectin, horse fucking
but that's
pill, whatever the fuck it was.
yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing that like really exposed how stupid and nonsensical most of the mainstream media is, because they literally lied, like they lied to people about it, and they did
to your face.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's. I mean, I'm not
without apology.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's no accountability or anything. I'm not American, so it's not my place to say. But still, as a global consumer, I consume a lot of American content, obviously, like Joe Rogan. So it's really outrageous. Like if like what they did, like CNN and whatever, just lying like to people. Like it's.
I don't know. When you think about like they're lying about that, like they lie. They must lie about a lot more things.
Of course.
Of course, dude.
But the problem is, I don't even care so much that they lie, because we know that they lie. I mean, we've known since 9/11, since Iraq, Afghanistan, whatever, and many other things before. But the problem is that these lies, they permeate, they get entrenched in a lot of these people's minds. And again, because they don't apologize, because they don't correct, it just stays like a lot of people, general public, they just follow that narrative and they think that's the truth and the truth, and they don't go back around. So even now,
but sometimes though, like, right, I wonder, like, for example, like, we talk about CNN in the modern kind of. When I was a kid, CNN was the shit. Like, it was the source of the news, right? Like, there was no more respectable, video news, TV news source than CNN.
International,
right?
Yeah.
Globally.
Yeah.
Right. But I think with today's world though, like, I wonder like how much stuff is just like hyped and talked about just because we need something to be hyped and talked about than actual people believe.
Oh, 100%.
You understand
100%.
What I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's like nobody watches CNN.
Yeah,
like
especially
today, like, people watch YouTube more than they watch cable news. People watch, TikTok more than they watch, stupid videos on TikTok get more views than CNN do.
100%.
You know? So I just wonder, like, when I say, all these people are tricked to think like Joe Rogan is like this, is that just because it's the news story, or is that reality? Because my thinking is that it's just a news story and people are talking about it, but it's not the reality of what most common sense people think.
100%. Yeah, but the problem is, most people have common sense and they know the truth, right? I think like you're saying, but then the problem is there's still like these talking heads and online, or if you go to a company, I mean, I don't know, in America, I'm assuming from what I see, everything online, if I'm gonna go to America and work at Google or whatever, Microsoft or some big company, public company that has a lot of, that needs to worry about optics and whatever, even if 90 people inside that company have the common sense and know the tricks and the lies of the media, those 90 people out of 100 still kind of need to toe the line to the other 10 that kind of follow that narrative, that like bullshit narrative, because they are the ones who are linked to the elites, to the head management or whatever. So it's kind of like that story of the king going naked, right, on the street, like it's exactly that. Like, everybody knows the truth, everybody has their common sense, everybody knows that it's all bullshit, but we're still, especially online, people still are afraid to say it and to talk it. I mean, there's so much of that with so many issues nowadays in life, and it's but Joe Rogan, I'm super happy that he continued to do what he's doing, and really, I mean, literally, it changed like media now. I think the world would be worse now if he was not doing his podcast in many ways. A lot of things that wouldn't be exposed, like it's not because of him. It's just Also his guests and everything. Like
he's like for me anyways, about him, he's and I think sometimes he rambles and talks about the same shit too many times. Like
especially about China. Like he's very ignorant about China.
Yeah, very ignorant about China for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
But still.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely like paved the way for a lot of, other people and give them the spotlight.
Yeah.
And also like was able to, well, what I was trying to say is like he's like the most common sense person in, mainstream. Mainstream is not the right word, but like in big media.
Yeah, now
because he is media.
He is the biggest media now.
Yeah, but he's common sense and he's humble and he's just like, hey, fuck it, like
he's genuine. I mean,
I'm just a comedian that likes fart jokes.
Yeah,
so I don't know shit about this stuff.
Yeah, and he just talks to people. That's the point. Is that it's not even when people talk about Joe Rogan, it's not even about him. It's simply about him allowing other people to talk, right? And that's what the media doesn't like.
Well, they don't do that because
exactly they don't do that. They don't want to do that. They always have all those talks, like 5 minutes, whatever, 10
30 seconds,
exactly.
2 minutes.
So he completely disrupted that, and that's why they hate him so much. And we can go very deep about that. I mean, I have my own ideas about that. I mean, going deep about even what's happening in politics in America with Trump and everything, and why the media turn on him so hard and whatever. And again, it goes back to all those things about common sense. Like I don't know if I should say this, but I don't care.
Say it.
Like I'm very left leaning. In Portugal, I always voted in America. Those parties that I voted in Portugal would be considered socialist or communist parties, but they're not, because in most of Western Europe, at least, a party like the Democratic Party from America, I think it would, if it was placed like in Portugal or France or Spain, it would be considered center-right. Right. Especially because of the foreign policy aspect of it. It's completely right. So I'm very left-leaning. I'm very pro-abortion. I'm pro-decriminalizing all the drugs, which is a reality in Portugal. I'm pro... social services, whatever, supporting
free
people.
Free healthcare, free education.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm 100% that. But then when I look at America and what they did to Trump and whatever, like honestly, if I was an American right now, I would 100% vote for Trump. If my choices were between Trump and Biden,
for sure. I mean, I'm not even a fucking Trump fan, but like,
me neither. But
Biden's a fucking vegetable.
Yeah, exactly. And not just because of that, just because of all the hypocrisy and the lies that you see from that side of things, right? Obviously, Trump is corrupt. He was found guilty now. Obviously, we know that. I mean, a guy who builds skyscrapers, of course, he's corrupt. Of course, he did all. But like,
he doesn't even build them. He just fucking licenses his name.
Yeah. Exactly.
And other companies built them.
Yeah, he's just a sleazy. He's a hack, right? He's a hack with a lot of money. We know that, but that's not the point, right? The point is that if you're gonna go after him, and then you have other people like in your government like doing inside trading and all those things,
right? Like Pelosi,
and so much more.
Not manipulating the stock market, but having her husband buy stocks at 100% are going to do
she's
everybody. They all do it.
She's just more well known, right? But they all literally do it. Like, are you kidding me? And you want to like keep that kind of status quo? That's why they hate Trump, because he broke the status quo. Like when he went to go, first of all, he was against war. He was against invading other countries, which was very against the establishment, the foreign policy of America. That was the thing. He exposed that and said that publicly. If he was living in the 60s, he would have been killed, literally. He would have been assassinated. Right. They just don't do that anymore now because it's too complicated, but they would.
Yeah, I mean,
and
for me, man, like just looking at history, like I think JFK was the last president that truly was for the people, and they killed him.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I mean, can you imagine? Again, I'm not American, so I feel uncomfortable talking about this. But can you imagine being an intelligent, reasonable person and thinking that JFK was killed by some random crazy dude for whatever reason, like,
and a bullet that fucking
exactly, like
injured fucking.
But that's the media, that's the official, like, and then if you again, that's the common sense. But if you use your common sense then you're a conspiracy theorist. Again, you're a Nazi. You're this, you're that, and that's what you're saying. Like most people know, they understand that it's all bullshit, but you were still at the point where it's hard to say that publicly, and that's it's crazy.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like also too like most people like. There's no point to say it publicly because you still have to go to work tomorrow and you have to pay your fucking bills. And, so you don't want to be the fucking neighbor that's like the weirdo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but it shouldn't be weird. That's the thing. It should not be weird to talk about these things, right? I mean, we should do a whole podcast just about that, because
right,
because that's
come back again.
Dude. I love talking about this stuff, and again, there's not many chances to do it. So
I mean, like honestly, like I've only voted once in the U.S. I don't vote at all. Like I don't particularly.
That's a valid choice, by the way, in democracy. That's one thing that people.
Well, my issue, the reason why I'll tell you the reason why I registered to vote was because I was living in San Francisco, and I wasn't living in San Francisco. I was living in right across the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay. In a town, in a community, in
I was in San Francisco for 1 week once.
So you know the Golden Gate Bridge, right?
I didn't see it while I was there.
What?
I really didn't see it.
Not even like from afar?
I was staying in a hotel downtown near Chinatown or whatever.
You must have saw it, but not go to it.
I really didn't.
Really?
I don't remember
anyway,
seeing it. Anyway,
so fucking San Francisco, Golden Gate Bridge, another big piece of land, right? So I was living in this big piece of land. So the vote was that they wanted to ban all GMO farming in the county. And so I thought that was a reasonable thing to go and vote for. So like no genetically altered crops at all could be grown inside the county. I said, fuck. Yeah. Fully agree.
Good. Yeah, me too.
So that's the only time I voted in an election. But the reason why I don't vote in like presidential elections or governors or anything like that is because until there's a time where I believe that the person I'm voting for is 100% anti-war, I will not vote.
Yeah, that's a very reasonable.
Because I don't think that doesn't matter if you vote for Republican or Democrat. At this point right now in American politics, they've all gone to war, supported war efforts, supported military efforts in other countries. Even if you don't call it a war, just like
all the
like you can say like, oh, Bush went, went to Iraq and did all that shit in Afghanistan. Yeah, well, Obama also did Yemen.
Oh, he did Libya.
Libya. Or Libya, right?
Yeah, Libya. And Yemen
Syria,
too. And Yemen too, and Syria, yeah.
So it's just like, it wasn't a war, but, the U.S. were,
well, Yemen is
dropping bombs and, people were making money.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the foreign policy of America, and that's why I care, and I think most people in the world care about American politics, because even if we don't care about what's happening internally, like your rights to own guns or to abortion or whatever, like I'm personally not invested in that, but the American foreign policy impacts the whole world, and that's the thing that's always the same, both for Democrats and Republicans. They're always pro-war and pro these interests, because that's whatever you want to call it, but that's the deep state. That's the industry that's there that actually controls the government, right? They're not voted.
Huge, yeah.
Exactly. And it's people, when you say deep state, again, conspiracy nuts. But no, that's what it is. Like those people are there. People at CIA, whatever, they're not. These are career people that are there for decades and whatever, right?
Well, not just for career, but also like the biggest thing that people don't, consider is the companies that are behind all of these decisions. Like it's not just like the U.S. military going to Iraq and being the U.S. military. No, there's 1,000 fucking contractors.
Oh, it's all about that, yeah.
Right? That's where the fucking money is. Okay, so now we need contractors, and we need to, set up a porta potty, so people can take a shit.
Yeah.
When the normal cost to buy a porta potty is $300.
Exactly.
But because we have to buy it from this contractor because they're military approved,
exactly.
this $300 porta potty is $5,000.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And this bolt here that costs 50 cents, you know, is $100.
And that's the corruption.
You know?
That's the real
You know,
corruption.
that's the yeah.
Yeah, those are the interests, and that's where the real corruption is, and that's what we've seen with Biden and all these deals he was doing. And again, I'm not saying the others didn't do it, Obama as well, and they all do it again. Yeah. But you have to be reasonable about it. If you're gonna attack one, you have to, you have to accept it all. Not accept, but you need to acknowledge the reality of what it is. And yeah, like you were saying about not voting because you want the president doesn't support war. I think that's 100%. That's a great thing to say. That's what more Americans should say. And again, Trump, I don't want to get too much into it, but he supports Israel and all that. Trump, that's one of the things he's more public about that I disagree with. But still, he was against the invasion of Iraq and all that. He was against, if Trump was not elected in 2016, maybe America would have attacked Iran. I mean, because Hillary was all...
Yeah,
she was coming every day thinking about it, right? Yes. I mean, seriously, like she was like
vibrator.
Right. I mean, that's not a good thing. You don't want, like, at least Trump was a guy. He wanted to pull out from Syria, which is a good thing, I think. And the Russians actually ended up defeating ISIS, which nobody ever talks about. I'm not defending Russia, but that's the reality. The Russian army defeated ISIS in Syria. And Trump didn't want to get involved into any war. So in my book, a president doesn't want to get involved in wars is better than a president who wants to get involved in wars. So that's why if I had to choose between Biden or Trump, which are two terrible choices, I would choose Trump. I would choose Trump simply because he's anti-war.
I mean, I tell you the only reason I'm not going to choose any of them because I don't like both of them. But the only reason why I would choose Trump over Biden because I think Biden is senile and mentally gone.
Yeah, completely.
Right?
Yeah, completely.
Trump, he's old, but at least he's
intellectually healthy.
He has it together, you know.
Yeah.
But Biden is useless. He should be fucking sitting in his backyard drinking his little fucking... I mean,
it's cruel.
It's cruel
to see what they're doing with him. And I'm not saying, of course, he probably most of the time is still okay. I mean, he does talk, he does speeches sometimes, but he just fumbles it so many times. He's so out there so many times.
I think he has no ability to lead anything. Not even a small coffee shop.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have like
if you give him a small coffee shop to manage, said you're the manager and the boss of this place.
I think
he would fuck up.
I think he would be able to manage it. Like if he has 1 hour, in 1 hour he can hold for like 10 minutes where he's like sound-minded, but the other 50 minutes he's completely lost. I don't even think
that,
I mean, because he speaks sometimes normally, right? So I don't know if that's drugs that they give him or something.
Most of his speaking is teleprompter.
Right. Yeah, and even sometimes he starts talking about ghosts.
And what they say is that like when he goes to meetings, most of the things he's talking about in the meetings are read off note cards.
Or maybe he has like the thing, the earpiece,
or something like that. Like he's
No, it's sad. I mean,
he has no ability to run one of the most current important countries in the world.
Yeah, still the most important. I mean, if you're gonna be real, it's still the most important. I mean, it's still the country that influences the rest of the world the most.
Yeah. So
I mean, yeah, you guys have almost 400 million people. Like, there must be someone else. That's better.
Must be I mean, that's the thing, right? That's the thing that I fucking scratch my head like when I think about politics. Because I actually like as much as I don't vote, like I love like listening like to politics. Like my favorite news source, that probably my only news source that I listen to, I don't know if you're familiar with Breaking Points.
Yeah, I mean, because Rogan usually mentioned them since.
Yeah, they've been on Rogan before.
But I never actually checked them out. I know I've seen on
with
Rogan
Crystal and Sagar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're one of like the podcasts that I listen to. That they release like a podcast. Those two, like they release a new podcast every day, but like the two main people like 3 times a week, and
they're the ones where the woman is a Democrat and the guy is a Republican, right? Yeah, okay.
But they're reasonable. They're not party thumping.
Right. Yeah.
Like I think they're both reasonable humans.
Yeah.
You know?
That's all
And
it takes.
And they quit their, working at the Hill and this fucking corporate news.
And now they're making more money.
I don't know. I don't know if they're making more money, but they're definitely more free.
Well, yeah,
and more
they
happy.
Probably are, even with the the following they have and everything.
With their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Trying to
everything.
Make that YouTube money.
Yeah.
But man. I can't stand. I can't stand the stupidity of the lies that my government says, and that a lot of people believe.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's just the lying in people's face. But I don't blame. I don't care. I don't blame the government so much. I mean, I blame, but I expect that from them. To me, what's outrageous is the media going along with it, and not just the American media, international media, and most of the.
I think they're all the same.
Media.
I mean, I think they're all the same. I don't care what country you're from. I think most of the media is doing the same thing.
Generally, but it depends. I still think there's a huge contrast. Like if you compare media from the US or the UK to like France, or I'm gonna say Portugal, because I know even though Portugal is insignificant in the scale of things, but there's still like if you look at France, you still have media that's very they're very mainstream in the sense that they're huge, like channels like TV5 and whatever, and others, but they still question and are very inquisitive against the government and against what's happening and do real reporting, and just because there's just that culture there and whatever. And in Portugal that happens a lot. Like in Portugal, but there's one TV station which is one of the biggest. It's a state station. It's funded by the taxpayers and everything, but they're also the station that will most harshly criticize the government, which is something that you wouldn't imagine in very few places on earth. So there's still that. And in Italy, I think all these countries, especially in Europe, that went through recent dictatorships and fascism and oppressive states, like Spain did, because Spain had like Franco.
Like recently? Like in the past 50 years, 20 years?
Mid-20th century. Mid-20th century.
Like the 50s.
Yeah. Like Portugal had dictatorship until 1974. Italy, of course, had the Mussolini in the World War II. But this is still relatively recent in the sense that it's still in people's collective memory, like in grandparents and whatever. People talk about, like, my parents lived under dictatorship in Portugal, and that's one of the reasons why, like I said earlier, why my father left and whatever. So people understand that, But in America, you guys always, fortunately, you always live in this democracy and very progressive state. So I don't think you have that reference. Of course, you have from studying it, but you don't have it like ingrained in you.
Right.
So when the media in America says stuff like, or Robert De Niro goes up in the street and says, if you elect Trump, democracy is dead. Like, no, what are you talking about, dude? Like, no, it's not. It takes a lot more than that. Like, that's not gonna happen just because, and they say, oh, Trump is a fascist or this guy is a fascist. No, they're not fascists. You don't know what fascism is. Fascism is like when you say something out of line and people come knocking at your door and literally take you out and to prison in an island, which is something that literally happened to people my parents knew. Right. That's
using
very
big
different.
Words that aren't true.
Exactly. So anyway, like, not to get too negative and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get into it again on another podcast. Forget games and get deep into politics.
Games are boring. I mean, I like to play games by myself, but talking about games, it's kind of boring.
No, I love games, dude.
Yeah, me too. But but I do find this.
And one of these days, man, if you're willing to play some board games, dude, I want you to try my the board game that I designed.
Well, I would be willing to try, yeah, for sure, and I know more about it because I'm very ignorant about it, really.
Yeah, I think you might
but
like
I think
it.
I need to check some YouTube videos first. Like, if you tell me which game, so I can...
it's gonna be my game. It's not gonna be the game that I created.
Okay.
So you just have to come and check it out.
Sure.
All right, man. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to finally talk to you after
likewise.
12 years of watching you troll.
still sometimes.
Online. Yeah. You still do it today.
Yeah. Okay.
I think you're you're nicer today. Not nicer.
I've been kicked out of most groups where I was trolling, where people didn't realize I was just kidding. That's the thing. And now I don't care to join groups again. So I'm just became lazy with that. So yeah.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers. Yeah.
All right, we're out.